That's flicked away, but only as far as mid-wicket. End of the over from Garrett, 77 for 2. It's a maiden.
Did you have a particular island you remembered that you more fondly of playing at than the others?
I suppose you tend to remember the ones where you've done well.
Okay,
you know, if you've got the runs or a few wickets. So if I'm honest, I can't remember. So I obviously didn't do that much.
I'm sure you did. We'll have to get the scorecards up.
Do you know what? I don't know. When you're really young, and I was really lucky because I had a young England tour to Australia the year before. So that was my second winter trip.
Yeah.
But I was so what's the word? Raw? Not raw. Whatever. That I just felt, even though I was like, I think I was 18 on the first trip and 19 on the second.
Okay.
But I must have felt so young that just being there was like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's jazzing in to James Vince, and James Vince just puts that on the offside and doesn't take the run.
It was like, quite incredible, almost overwhelming. I think, the fact that I was in Australia. I just think I don't even remember what I was doing. You know what I mean? It was a bit like that. I don't know. I could be a bit wrong, really. But let's see if I can find it.
So jazzing in again from the pavilion end to James Vince on strike. Just clipped down the leg side, picked up at square leg, no run taken.
Have you been to any of the grounds there over there?
Yeah, so I've been to Border, Providence in Guyana, and Kensington Oval, of course, I went to a few years ago before the pandemic, iconic stadium. So those are the two I've been to. Not been to Queen's Park Cove. I'd love to in Trinidad. Obviously, that's got a rich history and a legacy.
Ooh, what's happening here? Ooh, they're having a chat about what? Light? Are we going off?
Looks like they're going to do a read-in, it looks like.
Yeah. It looks like bad light.
Yeah, bad light.
Oh dear, this will be a shame. I'm not sure it's got any worse. Has it got any worse than what we've been playing through?
Looks like they're going off.
I think it sounds like it, doesn't it? England young cricketers in the West Indies, 1979-80. Here we are, I found it.
Amazing.
Oh yes, I remember the first game. We had a warm-up game against Jamaica under 19s. We played at Chedwin Park, Spanish Town.
Okay.
And I remember because at lunch, and it was boiling hot, and that was our first trip. As you'd imagine, it was absolutely boiling. And we had curry goat for lunch.
Oh, amazing.
And that's the first time I'd ever come across it. And it's lovely, isn't it? Obviously,
it's so nice,
those who've had it. Let me have a quick look. Did I play in that? I'm sure I played in that one. The players are coming off here. We've got to get back to things. Oh, I didn't play in that one. 77 for 2, and we have had 19.2 overs here. Hampshire having been put into bat, and Vince is 30 not out from 32, playing quite superbly, has to be said. Nick Gubbins 18 off 51, looking a lot more defensive and circumspect out there. James Vince has no such concerns. But the two batters out. Fletcher Middleton bowled by Garrett for 8, an absolute beauty of a delivery there. And Toby Albert, who played on to Joey Everson, for 11. The umpires are out there, but they've taken a reading, and they have ordered the players off for the moment. So having started at 1 o'clock with 75 overs, so we'd lost, what was that, 19? It looks like we're going to lose a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's particularly bad out there.
No.
But I guess it's somewhere along the line, the light has just tipped over the line. So, right. Well, we're all, I think, going to take a break.
Yep, okay.
And then as soon as there's any more player calls, we'll be right back with you.
And we're back. Light has improved. Umpires bring us back on. I'm Matt Cole. Alongside me is Kevin James, and Santoki Nangalindran is in the rotation with us as well. 77 for 2 Hampshire. Vince has 30, Gubbins 18. Just taken off at 25 past 2 for a break because the floodlight's taken over from the natural light. Almost impossible for us to tell when that watershed has happened, but when the floodlights take over from natural light, it gets harder for the fielders to see the red ball against the background, and for batters as well, I suppose, as it's coming towards them. They have the advantage of the sight screens, but we are back. James Vince has 30 from 30 balls. Nick Gubbins 18 from 51. The two batters to go so far: Fletcher Middleton bowled by Garrett for 8, and Toby Albert bowled by Everson for 11. And Chaz Singh is going to carry on the 20th over of this innings. Kent won the toss and elected to field first. Looked like a good idea under gloomy conditions. Bowls now to Vince, who just drops back down on this one, and the ball bounces into the offside. George Garrett fields. 2 slips in for James Vince, who's, I wouldn't say he looked as comfortable as anyone. He's looked much more comfortable than any other batter that's been out there so far to me. So of the 4 we've seen so far, it's looked a little bit of a battle for all the other ones. And for James Vince, it's looked like it might as well be midsummer with the sun blazing. As Singh bowls on there's an illustration. And he's hit that on the up through the offside with some power, very little back lift, all timing. And that's 4 runs. Almost before I could describe it, it's reached the rope. 81 for 2.
That's an incredible shot. I mean, that's only just a short. And he's just stood there and hit through it. And, wow, makes it look as easy as you like. That's the sign of good players, when you look at that and you think, well, I could do that, but I'm not sure I ever could. But it doesn't matter what sport, isn't it? They make it look as though you could do that.
Singh bowls now to, rats him on the pad. Didn't look a bad shout, that one. It's definitely beaten Vince as he comes forward, and we're extolling his virtues, and then he's wrapped on the pad. Is it just going down, that one? Well, a little bit of an angle here, but...
I've had several messages, I don't know about you, but saying that the live picture feed has been having a few problems.
I think...
Is it all right now?
The club was saying that it came back up just as they went off for bad light, so hopefully... That sounds ridiculous in some ways, but...
it was fine while there was no play out there.
I know what that sounds like, but let's hope it's up and running once again, and you're listening to us via that, or watching if you wanted to with the pictures, as that's clipped into the onside by James Vince, and the 50 partnership is up. Vince has 35 of those, Gubbins has 13, and Hampshire now 82 for 2 at the end of that over from Jazz Singh.
That's 50 or 70 balls, which in these conditions is quite ridiculous, really.
It is.
But it's the injection that Vince has given the innings.
It's extraordinarily rapid.
It does look as though the picture feeds back up for me.
I think it is as well.
I must admit, I couldn't get it to work a little while ago.
I think they had a couple of the streams which started and stopped, but this one, well, it's just showing me advertisements at the moment. But there we go. Or any time you can listen to the BBC commentary. We are always live while the play is on, audio-wise, via the BBC Sport website and app. You can get it via some smart speakers as well now. Just ask BBC Sounds to play Kent v Hampshire day 1 or day 2 tomorrow. You get the idea.
Here's Garrett. Vince plays that back to the bowler. Start of the 21st over. Have we lost some overs in that play, in that quick break?
Good
because
point.
There are 57.5. So at the start of this over, we lose 1 over.
We've lost 3. We're going to be 75, weren't they, in total?
Yeah.
So now, is that right? So
yeah, lost 72. Yeah, 72 now. You're right. 3 overs.
God, my maths is brilliant.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter, actually.
75,
let's be honest.
No.
Garrett from the Nackington Road end. Vince gets one that just bounces a fraction, just works that up to mid-on, not out of the middle of the bat.
I'd say the forecast suggests that it's not going to get that much lighter than it is at the moment. so it may be a little bit of a battle throughout the afternoon.
Which is a shame, because both these sides need to play to a conclusion. Right. Kent need the win, and Hampshire do really, if they are to even minutely challenge Surrey. They sit third at the moment, but they have got points to make up on Somerset, let alone Surrey. Vince drives, and despite that half-dive effort from Bell Drummond, the ball is going over the rope at the far end. You just feel with Vince that even if it's a dot ball, there is a 4 coming very shortly. It's a bit like waiting at a bus stop and you've missed the bus, but you know one is just around the corner.
Yeah, quite.
He moves on to 39 from 37, 86 for 2. He certainly puts the pressure on the bowlers, because there's enough pressure on the bowlers. You'd think there wouldn't be when you've got overcast conditions and you've got a new ball. But that brings its own pressure, because your teammates are looking for you to take wickets. It doesn't help when somebody's banging you for 4 every other ball. Garrett bowls, and that's punched. It's hit the stumps at the other end, otherwise probably more runs.
Yeah, it's middled that one very nicely as well, as you say. Just looking at the forecast, actually, if we can get past 5 o'clock with the light, actually, I think the early evening, looks slightly better, though, notwithstanding, of course, the sun goes down a bit sooner in September, doesn't it? So,
of course it does, yeah. Soon be Christmas.
Well, got all your presents yet? So we'll see, I think, is the answer to that. I'll stop trying to speculate on the weather. That's never been an easy thing to do in Great Britain, has it? With any accuracy.
I think just about every game has been affected by the weather today, isn't it? Up and down the country. Looking at some of the scores would suggest that there's certainly not been full amounts of play. Vince drives off the back foot, goes out into the covers, where fortunately there's a fielder, otherwise there would have been more runs again there. Lancashire 64 for 3 against Durham. They've only played 25 and a bit overs there. Essex 120 for 4 against Nottinghamshire. They played 30 overs there. Somerset 161 for 4 against Surrey. Then they've played nearly 59. That would suggest they're not far away from having played
a full amount of time.
Yeah. Worcestershire 160 for 5 against Warwickshire. That would suggest as well, because they've had 51 overs in that game. Here's Garrett. Bowls, and Vince punches that. This time he has found the gap, and against this a diving Bell Drummond that can't quite get there. The ball won't quite get to the rope either, and they'll settle for 2. I won't keep saying it, but I'll have to say it just to describe the way Vince is playing. He's making it look particularly easy, ridiculously easy. 41 from 41 he is, 88 for 2 Hampshire. I
think when you look across the piece with Kent's bowling attack this summer, it's a lack of a point of difference, a lack of a strike bowler in this lineup, which has been a problem. Whereas Agar was here early season and got that injury. Akeem Jordan might be the man for the last few games, but he's injured as well. And Nathan Gilchrist, who perhaps would be of the homegrown talents, one of those with just a bit of extra zip, a bit of extra something. But yeah, despite whatever Kent are bowling at the moment, I think James Vince. He's just in the mood, isn't he? This one's left by Gubbins, full stump line. Decent ball from Singh through to the wicketkeeper Finch. There's drone, Jazz Singh. Challenge for Jazz Singh with very much getting consistency. His runs come at quite a high expense at the moment, but he is very young, as you were saying before. He's just 21, isn't he? But from a Kent point of view, he's going to kick on and just find that rhythm, find that way of taking wickets in the Championship. As Gubbins is half forward, it's not timed particularly well, but up towards Parkinson, and there's no run. 88 for 2.
Hey, it's all very smooth, isn't it? His run up and his action, all very smooth and easy, and just pings it down just short of a length from a decent height. I mean, he's got all the attributes, there's no doubt about that.
But you all know, having played professional cricket, the consistency is the...
Oh, yes.
It's easy to say, hard to do, I would suggest, isn't it?
Definitely.
I mean, I have no idea, having played cricket at no level whatsoever. But Singh to Gubbins, rises off a length. Decent delivery as well, but Gubbins leaves that one through to the wicket-keeper. Because it's, I guess, from a commentary box or a fan's point of view, it's easy to think that there are robots out there. Why is he not putting it on a full stump line every single ball? Well, that's not the way it works, is it?
Exactly. We're all human. And it might, and a lot of people say, well, surely you're a professional bowler, you can bowl 6 balls in the same spot, but some days that's easier to do than others.
I suppose, like all of us at a job of work, we'll have good days and bad days. That's, as you say, that's the human element, which makes sport worth watching, really. It's driven into the offside, but again, not particularly timed by Gubbins, but no danger to him either, up towards a wide mid-off. Diving stop by Matt Parkinson.
Yeah, there's lots of factors around that, isn't there? There's the ball you use, i.e. Kookaburra, and conditions. I mean, everything is in your favour here at the moment, but that Kookaburra ball will start getting soft very quickly. Then you start forcing it.
That's a sing bowls now to Gubbins, who guides that away and actually takes a leap past the man at point. Is that Garrett diving for that one, I think? It's gone into the ground, it's gone past him, and that'll go for 4 runs. 92 for 2 Hampshire, then Gubbins goes on to 22 from 56, Vince 41 from 40. And seeing what I've seen of the Kookaburra ball, 20 odd overs it may well be its limit to me. Yeah. I don't know what you think about how long it stays, the seam stays prominent, and how much the ball stays hard during that time.
Yeah, not very long. I mean, it may be just because conditions are relatively squelchy out there, it might last a fraction longer, but abrasive surface and harder surfaces might knock the hardness out a little quicker, but you're looking around this moment where may things start to turn.
92 for 2. Gubbins drives again up to Parkinson at mid-off, and that's the end of the over. 4 off it though, 92 for 2. Vince has 41 from 40. Gubbins starting to get into his stride now. It's 22 from 57. And Jazz Singh none for 14 from his 3 so far. Garrett 1 for 27. Was bowling at the other end. Will be bowling at the other end. Comes back after that short break for bad light here at Canterbury. 92 for 2. Hampshire will be the happier of the two sides, I would have thought, at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Put in. Yeah, definitely. At 32 for 2, we think, where's this innings going? It's a good decision, and I think Hampshire would have done the same had they won the toss. They would have put Kent in, but the momentum is definitely with Hampshire here, and Vince is putting a lot of pressure on Kent with just the way he's playing. Now there is a man on the drive, very short, straight on the offside. Just a wicket over to the right of Vince. He'll be right in the eye line as Garrett comes in from the Nackington Road end. I think that's as much to try and put Vince off. There's a good delivery. Vince is prodding at that one, plays and misses. The crowd enjoyed that one as well from Garrett. That would have just come back up the hill a fraction. Those are the balls to bowl here. A ball that goes against the slope. And then, of course, then you just allow the slope to let it do its work. But that's a really good delivery. Just watching that again. Vince had to play at it. But yeah, just going back to Singh, I think he looks all right to me. He doesn't. I mean, he's bowled 3 overs, none for 14. A couple of bad balls, but that's the difference in first team cricket. They've both been put away. Garrett bowls. Vince is forward, goes out towards mid wicket. Maybe in second team cricket, only one of those would go away. Maybe neither of them, and he's bowled 3 overs, none for 6 or something. And and he's into his rhythm, and he's away, and he's on top. But already, 3 overs for 14 in this light and what have you, he's already thinking there's a few more runs than I should. And then you start feeling a bit tighter, and it just gets a little harder. But as I say, I mean, as a bowler, he looks fine, more than fine for a 21-year-old. Gosh, here's Garrett bowls. Vince gets a thick outside edge along the ground, goes through the vacant 4th slip area. Running after that one is Jack Leaning, picks it up just in front of us. 2 runs to James Vince, but it's a bit like Garrett. I mean, I know he didn't play much at Warwickshire, that's why he's moved down here. But again, he's got all the attributes. I mean, he's not tall, but he's skiddy. He's already bowled one superb ball to get rid of Fletcher Middleton, but just consistency-wise, there's a few balls down the leg side early on, and you just think if he just tightens up, he's going to do a really good job for Kent over the years, but he just bowls a few Timberley let-off balls at the moment. Garrett bowls. Oh, he's wrapped in front. That looks close. Is it going down the leg side? Yes, says umpire Paul Pollard. That did look close. Full delivery. Vince trying to work that through widest mid-on. Got caught on the crease.
He's got forward, isn't he?
Just watching that again. And Ooh, I tell you what, he might have actually got outside off stump with that one. It's come right across his stump. Difficult to tell on the angle we're on.
Yeah.
Camera straight down the line.
I see what he's saying. He's come outside the off stump and down the pitch as well. Perhaps Paul Pollard is just saying impact outside, but good delivery, that one.
It's worked away backward a point. More runs here for Vince. Is that going to make it? It's slowing, it's slowing, it's slowing. Oh, he hasn't made it. Just pulls up about 2 inches short of the rope. Down to backward a point. Vince picks up 3. That was exciting.
It was. I have to say, the members to our left, I think they're in pretty good spirits. I think pretty much most of them are a bit of given up on Kent surviving here, so they're just, surviving the County Championship Division 1, so little victories, I would say.
Have we got another game here before the end?
We have next week, in fact, home to Notts, so important one for them, obviously. Yes. And for Kent. And then away at Durham, last game of the season. Nice long trip.
Good luck with that one.
Enjoy that one?
Well, that'll prolong your season for you. Here comes Garrett. If it's just the trip back, playing a missing at that one, that's a good delivery as well. And he's produced a few of those, George Garrett. 8 overs, 1 for 32, beaten the bat a few times. 97 for 2, Hampshire. And I don't know if that light is closing in again a fraction.
Let's look a little bit, doesn't it? Maybe there's the weather's coming from our right. The clouds are blowing across that way, are they not?
Pollard's just taken another light meter reading.
Actually, they're not going very fast in either direction, are they? But yeah, I just wonder if they are looking at the light. There is some lighter stuff around, but they should be taking the players off, obviously, if it dips below. What are those light meters? Are they called are they called the Megatron or something like that? Those light meters? Yeah, they've got an incredible title for it.
Small gadget.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's Sing to bowl. It's an off. Oh, goodness me, it's 4 runs from Vince. Back foot, though he's not really distributed his weight either way. He's just stood up and guided that through the offside. And what a way to bring up your 50. Superb shot, dismissive of Jazz Singh. 50 from 46 balls with 9 fours. In the context as well of a day when it's gloomy, the ball's been hooping around a little bit early on. James Vince came in 2 wickets down at 32 for 2 and has got himself a run of ball 50 and 100 is up. It's been superb so far as Singh bowls to him, clipped off the pads. Fine 4 for James Vince. Leg glance as Singh just errs on the side of middle and leg, and at his pace James Vince has said thank you very much indeed. As you say, Kevin James, you get those times where the sporting cliche comes out. He appears to be playing on a completely different surface from everybody else.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable to watch. It really is. This is him at his absolute best. All the years he's playing for Hampshire, he looks as fluent as I think I've ever seen him.
Yeah, this is a very, very impressive knock so far already. Singh bowls to him. This one's guided. Oh, I thought he was going to go behind point there. Fielded by Ben Compton. I mean, he's got form on that score. You can understand why I was thinking that might be cut away for 4 runs, but Compton fields it and it's a dot ball. And yeah, well, we talk about Singh's consistency and whether he's going to kick on. Well, this is a severe test, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because his teammates aren't getting much out of James Vince either. Although Garrett tested them the last over, it felt like. 1 for 32. Here is Singh to Vince. Clips that off his pad again. Leg glance. Single taken. He moves on to 55. And it is gloomy out there. The umpires come together. Nope. They're just changing over because it's right-hander to left-hander. 106 for 2.
Yeah, Singh's just got to keep believing. I know it's easy to say, but you just have to. If somebody's playing as well as Vince, you've just got to somehow just do what you can do, and all you can do is keep the ball in the right areas. You can't do any more.
Singh bowls to Gubbins, and that's helped away towards, gentle cut towards Garrett. I think that is at point. And there's no run, straight to the fielder.
you know, you can't do any more than that on this pitch. Already I think the movement is less than what it was at the start. But if Vince plays on the up and plays some super duper shots, you've just got to somehow say to yourself, well, I've done all I could.
Yeah. I think one saving grace for Kent as Singh bowls to Gubbins, driven up towards mid-on, fielded by Bell Drummond, a no run, 106 for 2. It's slightly ominous with the conditions in the first play of the day. Had Mo Abbas been bowling on this one, you'd think he'd be absolutely the bowler to bowl on this, but...
Yeah, well, they've got experience on their side, him and
Absolutely,
Abbott. Yeah. That does make a huge difference. There's no doubt about it. The last game up at Lancashire, which Hampshire won in 3 days, on a pretty good pitch, it has to be said. Yes, I know it was a young Lancashire side, but the experience of those two, he really did shine through, as well as, of course, the performance of Liam Dawson all round, both with bat and ball. But again, you're talking of experience, and over a season it does count. It might not count every now and then, but over a season it certainly does. And in that game, Abbas bowled a brilliant spell at Keaton Jennings. Start off in the second innings of Lancashire's really put Jennings under pressure, and they rely on him, don't they? And Bohannon and Wells, and he got Jennings early. That really did open the floodgates, really, in terms of wickets. But just the 4 or 5 overs that he bowled at Jennings to get him out was quite watchable. A bit like Vince, who's got an edge, inside edge, and it's racing away down to fine leg. That hasn't missed the stumps very much, and Garrett got really excited there, jumping up and down when he realised that wasn't out of the middle of the Vince's bat. That's come down the hill a bit. I don't think it's missed the leg stump by too much. Hampshire move on to 110 for 2. Just watching that again, and he's well outside off stump, Vince. In fact, that's gone past the off stump.
It has, yeah. You can understand why Garrett is, well, initially jumping for joy, then hopping mad, I think, wasn't he? More or less.
Yeah. But again, he can't do any more than that. You've just got to keep that ball in those sort of areas. He's made Vincent play some false shots already on several occasions. That comes down the hill. Vince gets tucked up. I think that's a no ball.
Yeah, it is.
He'll kick himself if he gets Vince with a no ball, that's for sure.
I think that's his third as well, George Garrett. But yeah, he had that big LBW appeal the previous over, didn't he, as well? Well so far, George Garrett.
It's got to keep going. I mean, it's so easy to say from a distance, but you've got a natural variation here with the slope. So, even if you just bowl straight up and down, every now and then one goes down the slope. So you don't have to try too hard. Bowling to Gubbins this time, and Gubbins flicks that away wider mid-on. Bell Drummond chasing after that one. He will pick it up. 2 to Gubbins. He moves on to 24, and Hampshire on to 115 for 2. We've only had 24 and a bit overs here, so Hampshire are scoring at a rapid rate, over 4.5 and over, which is terrific in this bowler-friendly conditions. Kent do have to find a way of just trying to keep it a little quieter than this. As Garrett comes in again and bowls. Beaten. Oh, has he edged it? Yes, he has. Through to the keeper. And Garrett gets his reward. Gubbins pushing forward. Slight outside edge. Simple catch for Vince behind the stumps. And Garrett picks up his second wicket. Gubbins goes for 24. And Hampshire are 115 for 3.
Yeah, indeed. I think he's bowled really well, George Garrett, and some reward for him there. Maybe not the man of the moment, James Vince, but Gubbins goes. And crikey, if the umpire hadn't given that one, imagine what George Garrett's temper would have been like. He might have had to have a time-out in the dressing room, but yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah, indeed. 2 for 41 he has, and Gubbins goes. But you say from Nick Gubbins' point of view as well, I think he's done really well, because it's been tough, hasn't it, in these conditions early on. And he's been stubborn, obdurate. Various innings, goes for 24, but may just have held up Kent long enough to give his side proper purchase in this and allow his captain to glide around at the other end. 60 already, and it's Ben Brown coming in at 5.
83-run partnership between Vince and Gubbins, and Vince had scored 60 of those. But again, as I say, it's all you need to do really when you come down from that Nackington Road end is just bowl straight and let the slope do the work. And as a left-hander, it is tricky. I'm just watching the dismissal again. It's pitched exactly in the right place. In fact, if anything, the ball threatened to straighten, and then it's just gone down the hill. It's a great delivery. I think Gubbins probably won't be cursing too much. He'll be cursing because he got in, but he can't curse, I don't think, the fact that he's out. That's just a really good piece of bowling.
So Garrett has 2 now for 41. Bowled Fletcher Middleton earlier in the piece for 8. That was a delicious delivery as well, wasn't it? Albert played on, I think, to Everson for 11. Second ball after Everson been brought into the attack, but then as Kevin covers, Daniel Bell Drummond goes into a third slip, and Ben Brown has time to think about it.
Here's Garrett then to the Hampshire wicket-keeper. He's forward. Ball bounces away down towards mid-off. Well, Ben Brown's back to his reliable best with the bat. Just dipped in form a little bit last year, but he's already got 200s. He's averaging 49 with a fraction under 600 runs under his belt in this year's competition. An average where when he joined Hampshire was 40. It just career average just slipped to 35 with not a great season last year, so he's back up where he should be. Cuts that away to backward a point. There'll be runs. Didn't quite time it. Just a single. Have to keep an eye on James Vince actually, because I mentioned earlier that the last 2 games he's been suffering with a groin strain. Was off the field quite a bit against Lancashire in the last game. Injured it in the game against Essex. He actually, when he went back on the field at Lancashire, he took a running catch out of Liam Dawson's bowling, and he must have ran back at mid-off about 20 yards, and for the first 18 yards he was fine, and then just as he went to take the catch you could see it ping again. So he went back off the field. So that didn't help. Fortunately he's had a week off, so but he's never normally injured, James Vince, so we'll just keep an eye, because the longer he's batting out there and running, there's always that chance it might ping again. Here's Garrett. Vince works that square on the leg side where there's a gap. He moves on to 61 from just 52 deliveries. End of the over. Good over from Garrett. 2 for 43 from 9 the Kent bowler has. Hampshire 117 for 3.
Yeah. From a Kent point of view, going through that spell without from Garrett without a wicket, might have seen Hampshire really draw away, so they've just managed to, I suppose, put the brakes on a little bit here, or they'll try to. Ben Brown coming in to replace Nick Gubbins. Jazz Singh will continue on for 23 from 4 overs, which is very much what we've seen from Singh. Can take wickets. You said his action looks good and smooth.
I mean, everything's fine. I mean,
but just
at the end of the day, he's bowled 4 overs for 23, which in this situation is not great. But Vince has put him under massive pressure.
Yeah.
But they haven't done a lot wrong.
Just lack of consistency, perhaps. You're saying just the odd bad ball allowing a pressure release. It bowls to Vince now, who is enjoying his bowling. It looks like he's enjoying everyone's bowling today. Just to clips that down again to a fine leg. He's able just to get inside the line of the ball and effortlessly glance that one down for a single.
I mean, I'll come back to that in a minute, because I know you probably need to talk now. I'll come back.
I probably should do, shouldn't I? Yeah.
Yes.
Update coming from BBC Radio Kent listeners after the travel from Adam Downing. Be updating with Surrey and Sussex schools as well. So it's a shared show during the afternoon. Brown faces Singh then, 2 slips in behind. Just has to work it into the offside, but into the ground. Ben Compton fields at point, and there's no run. News of horses on the road somewhere in the county. Crikey, M20, blimey. 118 for 3. Jazz Singh then to Ben Brown. Ooh, pad, I think going down probably, maybe even a bit of baton pad there, but Brown just running on the spot. Practices a few shots. Hello, dot ball. This update coming right now for BBC Radio Kent listeners and across the southeast. Just taking a wicket, Kent, as well. Nick Gubbins, the Hampshire opener, going for 24 as a really threatening spell from George Garrett, the Kent bowler, having Gubbins caught behind by Harry Finch for 24. Jazz Singh bowling at the moment. Dot ball there to the new man at the crease. Ben Brown on 1, but the hero so far for Hampshire has definitely been James Vince, 62, their captain. Looks like he's playing on a different surface in different conditions to everyone else. It's almost dark here. It's gloomy, really helping the bowlers out as well. The overhead conditions with a bit of humidity. He seems to have no worries about that at all. 62 or 53 so far. They would love to get him out soon. Leave by Brown just outside the off stump through to the wicketkeeper, and there's no run. So Hampshire 118 for 3. That after Kent won the toss, put them into bat. The first session washed out through rain. The other wicket today taken by Joey Everson. Albert going 4-11. Garrett cleaning up the other opener, Middleton 4-8. So Kent looking for wins. They probably need to win all 3 of their remaining games in the County Championship to stay up in the County Championship Division 1. It is a tall order, particularly against Hampshire, who have been 7 games unbeaten and lie 3rd in the table. As I speak, the players are coming off for bad light. That's not the first time that's happened today. I think we will be on and off. Elsewhere, no such problems for Surrey at Somerset, at Taunton. The home side, Somerset, 186 for 4 there, and Sussex playing Glamorgan at Hove. They have Glamorgan 182 for 7. Commentary all 3 of these games, certainly this one when they're on the field, via the BBC Sport website and app. And so we will take a short break. It has got decidedly gloomy here again, and 118 for 3, Brown on 1, Vince on 62. We will rejoin you when the players rejoin us here at Canterbury. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are post-tea now. Had another break for bad light at about 7 minutes past 3. There we go. I can be pretty exact for you. With the Hampshire 118 for 3. Tea's been taken. Was going to be at 3:20. Now at 3:26, if you're watching the clock. We're back on the field, which will give us, if we get all the overs in, a very, very long final session of the day. 46.1 overs available remaining. So that'll be interesting. I would suggest it's as light as it's been all day, though, which is great news as James Vince and Ben Brown come out. Vince has 62, Brown has 1, Hampshire 118 for 3. I'm Matt Cole alongside me, Santoki Nagalendran. And we've seen an interesting game already. First session washed out. Kent on top with the ball. James Vince comes in. He's on top with the bat.
Yeah.
What have you made of it?
Yeah, like you said, it's been ups and downs for Kent. Hampshire wrestled back control. James Vince seems to be playing on a different surface to everyone else at the moment. We've seen some wonderful strokes from him, and 62 off just 53 deliveries, so he's continued a very aggressive strike rate, and he'll be looking towards that century. I'm sure it'll be in the back of his mind. Few more strokes and he's up there and into triple figures.
Indeed so.
As Jasting, I think, has got one ball remaining in his over.
Indeed.
So he'll be at the pavilion end, and it'll be Ben Brown on strike. And as you said, yeah, it looks as light it has done all day, really. Yeah. So hopefully it continues for the rest of this afternoon.
Yeah, the forecast looks like it should be getting better, but who knows? That's the weather.
Singh goes into Brown, and Brown just drives at it. And is it going to run on the offside for a boundary? Looks like it. Yeah. So Hampshire start off with a boundary straight after tee, and that takes them up to 122 for 3. And not the final delivery Jasting was hoping for in his over. No. I think George Garrett will be continuing from the Nackington end.
Yeah, he bowled really well, didn't he, before the break? Yeah. And it felt like he got his, bowlers don't always, obviously, got his just desserts in getting the wicket of Nick Gubbins just before they went off, in fact, at 115 for 3.
And that was a much-needed break for Kent. You could see they were getting frustrated by that Vince and Gubbins partnership.
That's true, 83 to put on, the two of them, and I think Nick Gubbins has done a great job up until that point, certainly, weathering the early difficulties with the ball swinging about. Now it's bright out there. Garrett to Vince, full-length delivery. Vince trying to work it past the man at mid-wicket. Can have 2 slips in to Anamaye. He's doing a big old side stretch at first slip, and
looks like the ice cream van wasn't as optimistic about chances of play for the rest of the day. Seems to have called it a day. No longer in our vision.
Only half a session, really. I think that's fair. I think, to my notice, one gentleman got close to it, but didn't actually buy one. So not sure what the point was there. But into the offside, there's no run. Although, joking aside, I think there is some sort of contractual obligation in that if you have the pitch, if you get given the pitch for a summer, you do have to turn up a certain number of days. So perhaps that was a token. I was here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No one wanted an ice cream, and I'm off. But that's as much as I know about on-site catering. It's a very short conversation. 123 for 3. Welcome wherever you are listening. Great to have your company. Garrett to Brown. 4 defensive, no run. Via BBC Sport website and app with BBC Radio Kent, of course, and BBC Solent for this game, with the pictures from Kent County Cricket Club. And on the live stream, live and direct from Canterbury. Ball eventually gets its way back to George Garrett. 2 for 44, leading wicket taker so far. He has none for 28 so far. It's Garrett then bowling to Brown. No run, he says, to Vince Varane. Garrett's just overstepping again.
I think that's maybe the 5th no ball of today that we've seen.
Yeah. I think that's at least, I'm going to pick up on this now. Actually, at least 3 for Garrett today, and I don't remember him overstepping a great deal. Before, we'll just pick up his figures in a second, but he's going to come down from the Neckage Road end down the slight slope to Ben Brown, diminutive wicketkeeper. Ooh, just clipped. It was aerial for a minute, got the slips hopping up and down. But it's going to go past Joey Everson. He runs back to stop it going to the boundary. Jazz Singh completes the fielding, but they'll come back for a comfortable 2 in the end, and the score moves on to 127 for 3. But yeah, just aerial for a moment there. So we get Garrett. Yeah, that's his 4th no ball actually, 6 in total now. Which won't please the bowling coach or the head coach, I'm sure. So 2 legitimate deliveries to come. It's Brown. There's a no from him. To Compton at point, and there's no run. And before the break, we were going down memory lane with Kevin James, weren't we? And his England young cricketers, is that right? Yeah. To West Indies. Sounded fascinating.
Looked like a great tour. Covered Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia. So not a bad place to be when you're 18 years old touring, I'd imagine.
Apart from a broken hand, which he got. As Garrett bowls to Brown, straight back at the bowler, past the stumps. No one bothers running. There we go. Ben Brown's just surveying his work, but the mid-on and mid-off come together and stop it, so there's not a run there. End of the over, Hampshire 127 for 3. Were you saying Gus Logie? Is that right?
Yes, I think Gus Logie was the culprit that broke his hand.
So, fielding off his own bowling, I think, was that? Kevin's lost in thought about those heady days, but yeah. So a shot from Gus Logie broke his hand, which meant he missed out on playing the 3rd of those youth tests in Barbados, but still got to go.
Yeah.
I've not been to Barbados myself. I gather it's all right.
But it's okay.
It's a place to go and watch some cricket.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Charlie Stober's going to be brought on at this pavilion end for Kent. None for 23 off his 7 so far.
Speaking of young England players, we've seen Freddie Flintoff announced as the head coach of the England Lions over the weekend as well. So he'd obviously coached the Northern Superchargers in the 100, so further in his coaching career in the England setup now.
He's got that great documentary on the BBC as well, hasn't he? Yeah. His young cricket.
And Vince just drives it forward. Back picked up well by Stobo, so no run taken there. But a nice drive from Vince. And he looks like he's going to continue his scoring intent post-tee. Just 2 fielders that slip for Vince. So Stobo gets ready to run in again from the pavilion end. James Vince to continue on strike. Ooh, and just beats the edge there. It's a great delivery there from Stobo. And we've seen twice, I think now, a thick edge off James Vince's bat. So it hasn't been in complete control for the innings. There have been signs, of the pitch causing trouble.
Need to take advantage of this. You'd think certainly the ball's 27 overs old. We're using the Kookaburra ball, which does go soft, and the seam's flatter than on the Duke ball as well.
Stobo in again to James Vince, and he just clips it on the leg side, and he'll pick up a single there. And I guess this is where it becomes problematic for Kent, because as you said, depleted squad, especially in the bowling attack at the moment, is really an inexperienced bowling attack they've got here. And when you're searching for wickets, it's hard to know who to turn to if no one around you's got that sort of experience. Stobo in once again to Ben Brown on strike, and Brown just blocks it.
Yeah, I've got 14 bowlers which they've used so far, and then Matt Parkinson spin. We can understand why he's not been used as yet, obviously with the conditions as they've been, but clearing now, I'd have to say. The good news is that it's getting much brighter here at Canterbury. So perhaps our brushes with the bad light are over.
Stobo in once again to Ben Brown, and again Brown just blocks it.
The question is how far we'll go into the evening. We won't be allowed any extra time for play, if you like,
Yeah.
but they'll go on and see if they can get as many of these 44 overs bowled. But that'll probably take us 2.5 hours from here, and where will that get us to?
6 o'clock, just after 6.
Yeah.
The final delivery of the over. Stobo in once again from the pavilion end. Ben Brown on strike, and a leave there from Ben Brown. So sees off the over. Hampshire 128 for 3. James Vince and Ben Brown, the batters at the crease.
Indeed so. Yeah, so that looks doable in terms of light and with the forecast. So there we go. But I've already tried to do my amateur weather forecaster. Job early failed completely. So yeah, end of the over. I think Hampshire will still be the more pleased of the two sides at this stage.
Definitely.
I think perhaps that lack of a sort of true strike bowler for Kent is making these a little bit more difficult for them, but Garrett Stobo showing there is getting a little bit of movement still out of the pitch and out of the ball as full delivery from Garrett is driven into the offside. That's a good looking shot from Vince, perhaps a little bit low on the bat, but straight at Joe Denley, and there's no run. Garrett starting his 11th over, 2 for 48 so far. And turns once again. 2 slips in behind James Vince as he approaches. Oh, lovely clip through the onside, through mid-wicket this one. Matt Parkinson is after it. Will he stop it getting to the boundary? He does. Good stop as well. And recovers his feet to throw the ball back in. But they take 3 there at a jog. It was going up the slight slope there. It's a real chase for Parkinson. James Vince is... well, he's adjusting things around his person, put it that way. 1-3-3 for 3. Various parts of the clothing come off and back on again. You may have that in full sight on the stream, so I'll... there we are, all sorts of padding needing adjusting. Managed to retain his dignity. Oh, that was another no ball, is it, from Gary? It was indeed.
Yeah.
That's his 5th now. Can't do without that. It's another 10 runs to the total, isn't it? And want to keep things tight. Garrett bowls to Brown. Defensive. In fact, was defensive. Back past the bowler. Oh, that's some great keepy-uppy from Joe Danley. He's not lost that. Knee injury or no injury. Knee injury. Talented with his feet.
But yes, it's been a really nice inning so far from James Vince. Timed the ball very well. Found gaps in the field as well. Looks very composed, and ominously he did hit a double century against Kent earlier this year. So
yeah, he looked very good indeed. Oh, it's edged low. It drops to the ground before hits the ground before it gets to Tuanamiea, who just shakes the right hand. It might have been on the end of the fingers there, but it didn't carry, did it? But soft hands from Ben Brown. Just showing, I think, there that Garrett's got some movement in the air there and a bit off the pitch as well. Bit of wobble. Very good delivery indeed, but just fell short of the slips. So there's still some life in there. And as you were saying, James Vince has thick-edged a couple, but maybe that is just going to be the way of it, isn't it? I think on this pitch and the bowling as well. Is Garrett to Brown, composes himself again, works it to mid-wicket. He's got 2 mid-wickets for company now. Joe Denley is slightly closer. Just Singh further away. They're not very far away from each other. Close enough to have a chat now. Indeed. Dot ball there, though. I think a shout of approval and encouragement from Daniel Bell Drummond you heard there at mid-off to George Garrett. 2 for 55. Exploit conditions as well he can. Bowls now Yorker length delivery. It's another great delivery, that one from Garrett, and it's treated with respect by Ben Brown. I was saying to Kevin earlier, this is a good toss not to lose, I'd say, for Kent, because Hampshire have ammunition, don't they, for on a cloudy day. Mo Abbas, Kyle Abbott, you think what they might do to any county lineup with their skills, but Kent winning the toss, and Hampshire 1-3-5 for 3. Not a bad position for them at all at this stage. Is Garrett to bowl, and it's short, whipped away by Brown in the air though, and taken by Joey Everson just inside the leg side boundary, actually a few yards in. Good catch in the end, judged it, and it was low to his left, diving catch eventually, but controlled by Everson, and that is the end of Ben Brown. It was a shorter ball, not seen very much short stuff from Garrett, but tried it, got quite close to Brown, just couldn't get his hands through it. It's steepled up towards Everson, who eventually makes that into a very good catch. Brown gone for 9, 1-3-5 for 4 Hampshire.
Yeah, the short ball just lured Brown into playing that hook shot. Uncharacteristic in the context of his innings, but Brown departs for 9 runs, and again Garrett gets the breakthrough. So 3 wickets in the day. So he's had a productive day with the ball, and giving some hope to Kent now. They've got a breakthrough there into the middle lower order, and they'll be looking to pick up another quick wicket.
Yeah, absolutely. Into the 29th over.
So, Liam Dawson comes out now to join James Vince at the crease.
Yeah, fantastic all-round cricketer, Liam Dawson, isn't he? And Vince still there on 67. These two would have spent a couple of hours together at the crease, I'd imagine, over their careers. Don't have the stats on that, but yeah, vastly experienced. And Kevin was saying that Liam Dawson was PCA Player of the Year last year, and might have a shout for it this year as well with his performances. Yeah, end of the 29th over then. It is Hampshire 1-3-5 for 4. James Vince still there on 67. Ben Brown having departed. Court Everson bowled Garrett for 9.
So it's going to be Stobo to continue from the pavilion end, and James Vince will be taking strike. Frustratingly for Kent, Vince is still there at the crease. But they'll be hoping for another breakthrough as Stobo runs in. Vince just plays that on the leg side. It's picked up a square leg and no run.
Yeah, looking at their stats, Liam Dawson already 700 plus runs at 58.
Wow.
A man that's no better for his spin bowling, I think it's fair to say. 42 wickets as well, crikey, at 24. Goodness me, that is some return, isn't it? I understand why. I didn't realise his figures were quite that good, but yeah, as an all-rounder.
So Stobo in to James Vince again. Ooh, just clipped off the pad. Didn't look like it carried. I think it just fell short of slip. Few grumblings from the Kent fielders, but again a bit of movement from Stobo.
Yeah, 2 centuries, 4 50s for Liam Dawson. I mean, frankly, more or less any other county in the championship would take either of those, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
42 wickets or 700 at an average of 58.
He's putting up Gary Sober's numbers in the championship this season. So Stobo in once again to Vince, and Vince just plays that on the leg side, and again no run taken.
It's vaguely unfair, really. I'm not going to start moaning about it now. But yeah, powerful combination this one. 1-3-5 for 4. Still have Hampshire considering the conditions here, but a wicket or 2 for Kent.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Stobo in from the pavilion end once again. Into James Vince. Vince just plays that on the leg side, looks to take a single, but picked up well at short leg. And there's no run.
Yeah, Vince 67 from 64. That's made batting look deceptively easy, I think, on this pitch where the ball is still doing something. I said previously in that over, before bent round, got out to the shorter ball. He had one which definitely is wobbling in the air and a bit of movement off the pitch as well.
Stobo into Vince once again, and Vince drives it down the offside, and there's no one taken. Just picked up at cover by Daniel Bell-Drummond.
He didn't quite time it this time. It's good news for Kent. The ball, it's 30th over now. And Kent have not bowled many maidens though, have they?
No.
I think that's as I said, it's another sort of symptom of Kent's bowling, of that decent bowlers, perhaps the consistency though missing a little bit.
Stobo in to Vince once again. Vince just clips it leg side. Just missed the pad. And there's no run there, so maiden over there from Stobo.
Second one of the innings so far. Garrett got the other. But through 30 with the ball doing a little bit, you might hope for them to be a little bit more economical than that, but that's I suppose you have to say, unfortunately for them, James Vince doesn't seem to be in the mood to be stonewalling this afternoon.
So 30 overs gone. Hampshire 135 for 4. James Vince on 67, and Liam Dawson's just come to the crease, hasn't faced the ball yet.
Taking his guard. Umpire Pollard at the far end. Without the hat, I think it's umpire Blackwell at square leg. Just marking out his crease. Very deliberately scuffing away with the right shoe. That's right, bowls left. 2 slips in behind Liam Dawson then. George Garrett continuing 3 for 53 so far. 55, sorry. Into the onside, no run. It's worked there by Liam Dawson. Still scuffing at his guide mark there. James Vince just comes down for a very quick word after that first delivery. I'd be fascinated to know what you'd say after one ball, which we see appeared to middle. Something he'd forgotten to say in the intervening time between overs, I don't know. Oh, and by the way, it's hooping around. Here's Garrett. Down the pitch comes Dawson. Maybe that's a bit of advice.
Yeah.
Maybe just try that. He's still scuffing at that. At the crease, isn't he?
Yeah.
His right foot. I don't know whether that's nervous energy at the moment. But it's just a tell. So a dot ball anyway. Garrett goes back to his mark pretty slowly. Parkinson lobs him the ball. Kent leg spinner. 135 for 4. Right, looking good now here at Canterbury. Been off a couple of times this afternoon. Garrett bowls to Dawson, leaves that. It did look like it was coming back a little bit, and there was almost not quite a squeal from Jack Leaning at second slip, but head and hands for a second. They enjoyed that, but Dawson proving he knows where his off stump is. Confident enough to leave that one. They're not wrong. Movement off the pitch, coming back at him. Dawson looks back, unperturbed. And stumps undisturbed. Can again have the 2 mid-wickets in for Dawson. That little chip up on the front foot. This one's defended back at the bowler and there's no run. Have quite a deep furrow now, Woody, on his guard there. After every ball, he's scuffing back there.
Like you said, it could be nervous energy. Kent putting some pressure on though. This could be their second consecutive maiden over. So
yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it might be just something he does almost absent-mindedly, just during his innings. But 135 for 4. 4 dot balls for Garrett so far. Ooh, this one. Just, does that stick in the pitch a little bit?
Yeah.
I think so. Dawson has just offered the bat up to it, and it's a little bit uppish, enough for the Kent fielders to get excited. So there was no one near it was going to catch it, but it's almost the fact that the shot looked a little bit awkward, didn't it? Yeah. Just coming off the pitch, sticking a little bit. Garrett doing a good job here. Will it be consecutive maidens for Kent bowlers? Trying to build pressure. 135 for 4. Garrett bowling to Dawson, comes down the pitch, drives up to mid-off. It will be, as Garrett falls on his follow-through. Gets up, no harm done. Maiden for him, 3 for 55, 12 overs, 2 maidens. And I'd have to say, across the season, that Kent haven't built pressure. That's been, whatever you might say about the injuries they've had to their bowling lineup and the relative merits of the strength of their bowling lineup in Division 1.
Yeah.
It's been noticeable, I think. It's just the pressure you see sides putting on, which leads to wickets, leads to false shots, leads to occasional panic. Kent just haven't been building that over the season, but I think they'll be pleased with this little spell here.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the rate Hampshire were scoring at in the previous session. The game was kind of getting away from Kent, so this pressure will be welcomed from them as Stobo comes in from the pavilion end. James Vince on strike and just blocked out there by Vince.
Just getting a news flash there from the women's game against oh my goodness, it's over.
Oh.
England 320 for 8 with a big century from Tammy Beaumont, Kent's Tammy Beaumont of course. They bowled on and out for 45, crikey.
Stobo in. Once again to James Vince. James Vince blocks it again. So the 8th consecutive dot ball Stobo has bowled to Vince, so they're not letting Vince score as he did in the last session, putting some pressure on him there. So Stobo runs in once again to Vince. Vince just taps it on the leg side. Doesn't take a run though. Yeah, Vince just playing a bit more cautiously since that last wicket. Doesn't want to give anything away. Haven't seen any shots from him yet, as we did in the last session. And, also, as you said, a credit to the Kent bowlers. Garrett and Stobo, they have put pressure on now. So we've got, what, 15 dot balls in a row so far? Stobo runs in again from the pavilion end to Vince, and this time he takes the run, just clips it on the offside. Is it going to run away for a 4? Yeah, goes away for a 4. Didn't look like it, but ran away and takes Vince to 71.
It looks, I don't mean this dismissively, it looks like a nothing shot, but it's placed so well that it's 4 runs and almost with no effort. It looks like James Vince, obviously superbly skillful, gets himself 4. I wonder if this is that Hampshire may have said, James Vince and Liam Dawson may have said, let's just see the ball off for a bit.
Stobo into Vince once again, and this time Vince blocks it. It's on the offside.
Maybe having lost Ben Brown and then Nick Gummins just before they went off for light for the first time, maybe just thinking, if we see the ball off, it'll get, the Kookaburra will get soft.
Yeah, good point.
Let's make the bowlers make the effort here and maybe read the rewards later on. So it'll be a long last session if they can get dug in here, these two. But yeah, maybe a combination of both. Kent doing something with the ball as well.
So Stobo into Vince once again. Ooh! LBW shout. Always looked like it was missing.
Charlie Stobo enjoyed that.
Hands on heads from a few of the fielders there, so we'll have to see the replays.
Yeah, he's enjoying it less now, Charlie Stobo. He was into his second celebration, I think. But,
looked like it was missing leg side.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing you'd say there. But yeah, good shout, I would say. But maybe just with the movement into James Vince going down leg.
So, end of the over. 32 overs gone in a day. Hampshire 139 for 4.
Indeed so.
Looks like we'll have a change of bowler.
Yeah, Joey Everson to come back, struck with his second ball of the day, getting rid of Toby Albert for 11. 1 for 26 though, relatively expensive. Goes to the county school board in a few moments' time. top of the hour. I'll be updating BBC Radio Kent listeners with the Surrey and Sussex scores as they are, but I'll go through them ball by ball here. Well, Sri Lanka have beaten England by 8 wickets. 219 for 2 they finished today. Fantastic win for them. As I was saying, England women have beaten Ireland women by 275 runs in Belfast. A century for Tammy Beaumont there. Her 10th ODI century. Oh, that's a lovely shot. Goodness me. That is a little bit short from Joey Everson, but back foot drive. That is a thing of beauty from Liam Dawson. What a way to get off the mark. 143 for 4. The timing on that, absolutely glorious. 150 not out for Tammy Beaumont. 65 for Freya Kemp there as well in a 275 run victory for England women. Everson bowls to Dawson. Oh, he's looking the same again there, wasn't he? Came a wasn't quite there this time. Came a half step down the pitch. So elsewhere, First Division, Lancashire 104 for 5 at Chester Street against Durham. They really are in danger, Lancashire, of going down with Kent. Unless Kent can pull something extraordinary out of the fire, and Lancashire too, it looks like at the moment. Everson to Dawson, leaves that one through to wicketkeeper. Bit of bounce and carry. Essex at Chelmsford 166 for 4 against Nottinghamshire. They come here, Notts next week. That's Chelmsford. Somerset 249 for 4 now against Surrey. That's a decent total for them. Somerset choosing to bat there first. Worcestershire 192 for 6 against Warwickshire. Worcestershire looking for their 4th consecutive win in the Championship. Everson to Dawson. Clipped off his pads behind square. That'll be a single. Through for 171 now for James Vince, but Dawson's on to 5. Into Division 2, Leicestershire bowled out for 98. They're 11 for 5 at 1 point, so that's a recovery. Yorkshire 131 for 5, so 15 wickets falling already on the first day at Grace Road, but Yorkshire already with a tidy emerging lead. Middlesex 258 for 5 against Gloucestershire. At Lords, Northamptonshire have just been bowled out actually, 219 in total at Wantage Road against Derbyshire. There's Everson bowls to Vince. Vince defensive, no run. And Sussex have bowled out Glamorgan for 186, 21 for none in reply. Sussex leading the County Championship Division 2 table, were beaten by Yorkshire last week, but looking to re-establish their dominance at the top of the table. So around the grounds right now. Commentary of all those games via the BBC Sport website and app, of course. Comprehensive coverage. Drive by Vince. Glorious. And fielder goes after it. Daniel Bell-Drummond is going to get there. He does. Stops it for going for 4. They come back for 2, but he's hit that hard again. You could hear it on the Vex microphone. End of the over, 7 off that over from Everson. Bit of a release of pressure. As I was saying before, can't quite keep it on. Garrett was coming to the end of, I guess, his stamina in his spell there. Bowled really, really well. But 73 for Vince, 5 for Dawson, 146 for 4 Hampshire.
Yeah, and unsurprisingly, it being September and overcast, it's been a day for bowlers across the counties. A lot of wickets falling across matches.
Yeah, absolutely. But just 4 here. And as I said, Sussex looking like they might be changing places with Kent, neighbouring counties at the end of the season. The umpires just coming together there. I'm not sure they did actually. Oh, no, it's just a hand of a cat from Matt Parkinson.
Yeah,
first spin.
Get some leg spin on.
Yeah, he would have. No, we're not. Sorry, he's tossing it to Charlie Stobo. Sorry, I thought a cap was handed. It must have been. No. Was it Parkinson handing Stobo's cap to the umpire? There we go. That's confused me. Luckily, Santoki's watching closely.
So we'll continue with Stobo from the pavilion end. You'd imagine they will try Parkinson though sooner rather than later today, just to try something different, especially if they don't manage to get one of Dawson or Vince out. Stobo into Dawson, just blocked by Dawson.
Good afternoon to Andrew in Japan, regular on at BBC Kent Sport. You can get in touch with us that way. Kent supporters enjoying some vintage Vince, he says, Andrew. Although he's a Kent supporter, classy and patient. There'll be easier runs later if the light holds.
Nice alliteration there, vintage Vince.
Indeed, yeah.
That's Stobo into Dawson once again, and this time Dawson clips it leg side, just picks up the single at deep square. Hampshire 147 for 4.
Just hearing on the, I think on the Sussex and Surrey news there, that Andy Murray's back in sporting action next week. He's going to play a bit of golf. There we go. Whitworth. So he's probably all right at that.
Yeah, Stobo into Vince, and just blocked by Vince.
He's got reasonable hand-to-eye coordination, I suppose.
I'd imagine so, yeah.
I don't know how it transfers, actually. Cricketers play a lot of golf, don't they? I don't know if tennis translates that readily to golf as well.
So,
into the traffic news and making sure I can get home.
Stobo into Vince once again. Oh, and just hooked by Vince, but picked up at fine leg. And just a single taken. Vince going for a big shot there.
Yeah, I heard the excitement in your voice. I was much the same, thinking, has he casted that away for 4? But
Dawson on strike. Stobo runs in from the pavilion end. Stobo into Dawson and just blocked by Dawson.
Wonder if we'll get out of the over before they come to me for the update. Sounds like a long traffic bulletin this one, so it may well do. I'll try not to interrupt.
Final delivery of the over. Stobo into Dawson.
And just takes a single to the onside there. I'm going to interrupt now. Santoki, my apologies. 149 for 4. Yeah, Hampshire 149 for 4 here in a rain and bad light interrupted day. Kent won the toss, put Hampshire into bat. Soon had them 32 for 2. That was the good news. Then came captain for Hampshire, James Vince, who looks like he's playing on a completely different surface to everybody else. 74 from 76 so far. He's been joined at the crease by Liam Dawson, the experienced all-rounder. 1 wicket since Ben Brown trying to hook George Garrett away to the boundary, caught just inside the rope by Joey Everson for 9. Garrett has 3 of the 4 wickets to fall so far. Good news for Kent, but Kent really need to win their remaining 3 games in the county championship to have any hope of escaping relegation, and they are playing 3rd place Hampshire in this one, who are looking pretty well placed considering the conditions, on 149 for 4 so far, still with 38 overs of the day to go. Everson bowls to Dawson, he tucks that away for a single. Elsewhere with our teams, Surrey are at Taunton playing Somerset. Somerset 253 for 4, making a good fist of it so far against the reigning county champions. Meanwhile, Sussex have had a good day. They bowled out Glamorgan for 186 in Division 2 and are 23 for none. Commentary of all 3 of these games via the BBC Sport website and app. As Everson continues, second ball of his over to James Vince. Just trying to engineer that one past Joe Denley at mid-wicket. And I think it's his nephew, Jaden, now at the other mid-wicket. They've got 2 mid-wickets for James Vince. They've been doing that quite a lot, actually, from this end. Bowling from this end. Trying to look for the little pop-up into mid-wicket. And no dice this time. Everson bowls to Vince. Right, shot a little bit, kept a little bit low down the leg side. There was a appeal for LBW, though where it ended up with Harry Finch, I think that was fairly optimistic. Looked like it might be a missing leg. Kevin James is going to join us very shortly. End of this over. I'll make way. Join Santoki. So just one slip in for James Vince. They've gone pretty defensive at 150 for 4. 34.5 overs bowled. Everson to Vince. Finds Joe Denley. Not sure who's off it. Might be George Garrett. He's bowled a long spell, or 2 long spells today, hasn't he? Yeah, I don't see Garrett on the field at the moment. Might be just taking a breather. Uncle and nephew chatting there. It's a family affair at mid-wicket. Asking for a helmet
Finch
here.
was just calling for a helmet. So.
Is it Harry Finch, maybe? I'm wondering if it might be might just be wicketkeeper's helmet, I think, here. Maybe he's going to stand up to the stumps, try and put something different in.
Yeah.
It's taking a hot minute here. No, not that one. He's pointed at the side of the dressing room.
He said, "I'll do it myself." He wants to get it himself.
There we go. Hamid Kadri is going to bring it on for him. He's found it finally, and I think Harry Finch pointed perhaps the helmet he wanted. There'll be other fielding helmets there on the boundary rope or just up on the balcony as well. He tosses his cap to Jack Leaning. It's not a great catch for Jack, is it? It's low. Couldn't pick it up on the full. He's still going to stand at slip. Everson is a brisk pace to stand up to, but they don't want Vince wandering down the pitch. So here is Joey Everson, bowls to Vince, drive, doesn't get all of that, up to mid-on, fielded by Matt Parkinson, thrown to the wicket-keeper's end. Relay, underarm back to Joe Denley in his faded Kent cap. They go from a dark blue to sort of light brown. The Kent caps, comes back to Joey Everson. Short sleeve shirt. Bowling now to James Vince. Ball to come on the 35th over. Driven by Vince up to mid-on. Dot ball again. 150 for 4 then. Dawson has 8. Vince has 74. And a few words from Santoki, and he'll be joined by Kevin James.
Yeah, so Vince is putting the impetus on with Hampshire. 150 for 4 after the early breakthroughs Kent got after a rain delay here. Looked like momentum with Kent, but Hampshire have wrestled back control, and Vince will definitely be eyeing up a century. 74 runs of just 81 deliveries, which sort of indicates the aggressive nature of which he's played some lovely shots across the day, and he's joined by Liam Dawson at the crease. They'll be looking to put a big partnership together as Stobo continues from the pavilion end. And we welcome back Kevin James to commentary.
Thank you, Santoki.
Stobo into Liam Dawson. Dawson just blocks it there. And Kevin, it's been an enjoyable inning so far from James Vince here.
It has, but he's slowing up.
Yeah.
He's slowing up. For me, 2 reasons for that. One is I think Kent collectively now are bowling better. I think they're bowling a little tighter, and they've set a little more defensive fields. And they're bowling into those fields, so Vince is finding it a little tougher to pierce it. But the other thing as well, for me now, the ball is getting soft, and it's difficult now to actually pierce the gaps because the ball's just not pinging off the bat as quick.
So Stobo in to Dawson again. He just blocks it. Just picked up on the offside. And you're right. Since the tea break, Vince hasn't been able to score as freely as he was, and Kent are putting more pressure on him.
I think Stobo's bowled a particularly good spell since the break. He's bowled very tight. The odd one has nipped. There was an LBW shout to Vince a little while ago that nipped back up the hill. But he's bowled tighter. Garrett's bowled a bit tighter. Everson's the same.
So Stobo in once again to Dawson and just drives it. There's no run on offer. We were just talking with Matt about Liam Dawson's season so far, averaging 58 with the bat, 42 wickets, unbelievable numbers.
Second highest wicket taker in Division 1 as well, 10 wickets in the last match against Lancashire. And 100 actually as well to go with that as well. So yeah, he's in terrific form, and I've said it many times, he's on top of his game all round. There has been periods in the last few years where he's been batting well, perhaps, bowling not quite so much. But then you've got to remember, with Abbott and Abbas in your side, there's not necessarily turning wickets around.
Exactly.
But especially at home, I'm not saying they've been seamer friendly, but they probably helped Abbott and Abbas a bit more. I think at the start of this year, where the wickets at home were very docile, Dawson had to bowl a lot of overs and responded. Hence why he's got so many wickets at this stage. But he's just a dream for a side. And quite interesting, actually, as we wait for the sight screens to change again, which seems to be quite a regular thing here at this end, is when you talk about James Vincent, you talk about Liam Dawson as well. Vince Dawson this, Vince Dawson that.
So Stobo into Dawson and again just blocked.
Because they have basically been, Hampshire for quite a while now. Yeah. They are both playing their 195th game for Hampshire today.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's how much they mirror in each other.
Yeah.
195th first class, that is, of course. But sensational stuff, really, and just for Liam Dawson, he's a must in anybody's side. Absolute must.
So Stobo in to Dawson again, and just blocked by Dawson.
Just a real battler, real competitor. Hasn't got the flair of Vince with the bat, but that doesn't matter. Well, I suppose Dawson's effectiveness with a bat is obviously within his stats, not quite as much as Vince. He averages 34th though career first class. Vince is 41, so there's a little difference there over that many games, but just as influential though.
Stobo in again to Dawson, and a leave this time by Dawson, and that ends the over. Hampshire 150 for 4. And Dawson just got the 3 test caps for England. Do you think he would feel slightly aggrieved or disappointed to not have had more opportunities?
He's been in and around the England squads for a long time,
and
carrying drinks for a long time, which I think in the end just got to him, really.
Yeah.
He was a very, very good player, but travelling around with England and just not playing, so he was finding long periods where he just wasn't in the action, and he's somebody that loves being in the action, absolutely loves it. And I suppose there comes a point when you think, well, there's some franchise tournaments around the world that I could be involved with, making a difference, and certainly making a good living. Here's Everson with the keeper standing up then. Vince is forward. Let's place that back to the bowler. It must be a difficult one. He's 34 now. Liam Dawson. He knows, and has done for quite a while, just how well he is playing. And he had a couple of matches out at the Big Bash in the winter, and went over to the South African T20 and got into the final there. Well, won it. It's wrapped on the pad there, Vince, trying to whip that away on the leg side. Has been involved in the Pakistan Super League over the last few years. So he's he just wants to make the most of it. He knows that he's at the back end of a career rather than starting out. And when you're playing as well as he has over a long period, why wouldn't you be playing? Vince drives on the up, finds the gap through the covers, but a man has been placed out deep. So before, where that was a boundary, that's now just a single. And Vince moves on to 75, 151 for 4. I don't know how much you've watched of him over the years. Yeah,
I've watched him in franchise cricket, South African League last year, and I think what he offers with his left arm spin and his ability to hit big as well is such a valuable asset for franchise side. So it's no surprise that he is popular across different leagues.
Yeah, I think what's been noticeable from a Hampshire point of view, as Everson bowls, forwards Dawson, is that his range hitting has actually improved a lot, quite recently as well. I'm not sure he was that well known for somebody that could bang the ball out of the ground, certainly not on a regular basis. There's a lot of other players in the Hampshire side in white ball cricket that you would name ahead of him, but I think this year certainly he's done it on a number of occasions, fairly regularly. Dawson's forward there here. Again, he's back to Everson.
I think it's inevitable once you start getting franchise deals, you refine your skills to kind of suit what's needed. So it makes complete sense that he's probably spent more time, trying to get those big drives.
Yeah. I just imagine a lot of players are doing that. Because that's, I think a lot of them see that's the way forward.
Yeah.
Here's Everson, bowls, and Dawson again gets a good length delivery, which he's quite content just to defend at the moment, not looking to do anything at all, really. Just, I think Hampshire will feel that 151 for 4, they're in no man's land here at the moment. 37 overs gone, 35 to do. That's an awful lot for a day like this. Overcast, 35 overs left in the day.
Well, it is probably the lightest it's been all day in terms of the cloud. There. At one point, I didn't think we'd see much play in the afternoon, but looks like we're going to have a good session in store.
Well, the stadium announcer was certainly optimistic, didn't we? I think when they came out after tea saying, well, this will be... so he was very positive about it. He said, oh, this will be the longest session of the game, and didn't say actually we'll get all play in, but he firstly suggested it.
Looks like we're going to get some leg spin with Parkinson coming on from the pavilion end. Kent just trying something different here.
That's a good spell by Stobo.
Yeah.
Just calmed everything down.
Yeah. It's going to be James Vince on strike. It'd be interesting to see if he tries to take Parkinson on, or just try and initially see him off. So Parkinson comes in to Vince and just leaves a leave there from Vince.
It was well flighted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of air in that. Parkinson, 27 wickets this year at 52 apiece, though.
Just driven on the offside by Vince and takes the single.
Wow. It's not a bad amount of wickets, I suppose, but 52 apiece.
Yeah.
5 for 177, his best figures of the season.
Oh, wow. Parkinson into Dawson, who takes strike. Dawson sweeps at it. Just missed. Got a bit of turn there, Parkinson.
Looked like he might have done, didn't it?
Yeah.
I need to see that again. Drawn into the drive was Dawson. He's certainly given it plenty of air. He's certainly given it a chance.
Parkinson in once again to Dawson. And this time just blocked. Forward stride from Dawson and he blocks it. Didn't want to take any risks.
No, that did turn. Just watching the ball before. Slow turn, but it was there.
So Parkinson into Dawson once again. And again, just prodded by Dawson, and there's no run taken.
Not a lot of pace or bounce there, is there, really?
No.
That's the one thing here spinners always have lacked, is the bounce.
And Parkinson in once again to Dawson. Oh, he just drives it on the leg side and will pick up 2. And that ends the over. So Hampshire 154 for 4. James Vince on 76 and Liam Dawson on 10.
Yeah, we're just saying about Parkinson. Average this year, when he was at Lancashire, 140 wickets at 25. Wow. Mind you, Lancashire a bit more bounce for the spinners up at Old Trafford might have helped, of course. But that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So Joey Everson to continue from the Nackington Road end. He has 8 overs, 1 for 35, and James Vince 76 from 86. Still quick, but not as quick as he has been. Lovely drive out to extra cover. No run. We are into the 39th over, so I think it's fairly safe to say that this ball will be pretty soft.
Yeah.
And will continue to stay like that for the rest of the day, because we're not having a second new ball today. Here's Everson again. Vince off the back foot, again finds extra cover. Firmly struck, but it is straight at the fielder. Yeah, it's interesting with Parkinson, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's into his it's his first class debut this year for Kent. 2 matches he's played so far. This is his 11th. Here's Everson again. Vince drives, but again can only find the fielder, this time at mid-on. Just emphasising really, just the ball's just not quite pinging as hard off the bat. It's well struck, but the difference early on in Vince's innings was that the ball was perhaps just travelling a little quicker and therefore finding gaps. Here's Everson again, but definitely the bowling has tightened up. And I think the fields are a little better.
Yeah, I agree.
It's worked to short mid-wicket. It's probably as much about the bowlers bowling to the fields as much as anything. It's very difficult to get away now. If a bowler's going to bowl whole defensive line and length, I think it does look, unless somebody's going to take a chance.
Exactly.
And Hampshire don't look like they want to take a chance at the moment. There's Everson again. Ripped away. Oh, it's dropped. Dropped at mid-wicket. Here was the chance. Vince forcing that away on the leg side. 2 at mid-wicket just for that shot. He's gone straight through the fielder's hands.
Just when we said it looked like Hampshire didn't want to take a chance.
I know.
Yeah, what was?
I think there was just a bit of frustration there from Vince, wasn't it? He just went at it a bit. Saw the ball was slightly over-pitched and just went at it a little more. That's a let-off. Here's Everson. Short by Dawson, pulled away. And that's a poor ball. Dawson profits. Boundary, heard it whack into the boundary boards away to our left. 159 for 4 Hampshire. Vince has 77, Dawson 14.
So Kevin, during the tea break we were looking at scorecards of your famous tour of the Caribbean with the England youth set up. You went to Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia. Sounded like a great tour.
You're out there playing international cricket and all you can remember is the curry goat for lunch in Jamaica. Only because I'd never heard of it before.
As Parkinson in from the pavilion end. And Vince just drives it on the off.
Oh dear.
Must have been good curry goat for you to remember it though all these years later.
Oh, it was alright. I just never knew there was such a dish.
So Parkinson in again to Vince and just put it on the offside.
I just remember coming off after that session in the morning and we were absolutely drenched in sweat and hot as you like, and then I said, it's curry goat for lunch. I said, whoa.
So Parkinson into Vince again and just drives it on the off. Picked up by Daniel Bell. Drummond at extra cover.
Is that one of your favourite dishes?
Curry goat, I like it. What else was I going to say? Ackee and saltfish, pretty good as well if you've ever tried that.
Ooh.
So Parkinson into Vince again and picked up by Bill Drummond, and this time he takes the single.
What was that again? What fish?
Ackee and saltfish.
Ooh.
It's Jamaican national dish.
Okay.
Pretty good if you want to try that.
Okay.
Guyana's slightly different where my family's from. More of an Indian type of cuisine, so roti and curry.
Yeah.
And so Parkinson into Dawson. Dawson just drives it on the leg side and it's going to go for a 4. So a boundary there from Dawson. Takes him up to 18.
Yeah, you can't bowl it short here, it just stands up at no height either. Quite an easy shot for the batter. In fact, in the end it's too easy and you have to make sure that you don't actually you don't take your eye off the ball in terms of making sure you put that ball away properly as Dawson did there.
As Parkinson into Dawson and he sweeps at it. Oof. Just picked up by third man. And no one there. So that's the end of the over. Hampshire 164 for 4.
It's interesting you say about Guyana. I've got the feeling out there that it had more of an Indian influence than some of the
it's
other
got a
ones.
large Indian population, and it's slightly different from the islands, obviously because it's part of the South American mainland. Doesn't have the beaches and the sort of same tourism industry, so there's a different dynamic to other nations in the Caribbean. But obviously a massive cricketing nation, number one sport by a mile.
In fact, I remember the sea there. It was brown.
Yeah, it's brown. Yeah.
Is it still brown?
It's still brown. Nothing's changed.
That was 40 years ago. Yeah, that was the thing that struck me. Caribbean beaches or West Indian beaches, it's brown sea. Here's Everson from the Nackington Road end. Fences off the back foot and just delightfully strokes it up to mid-off, but it's straight to the fielder. That's Daniel Bell-Drummond. 164 for 4. So with your Caribbean podcast, is it all just about the players? It's nothing else?
Well,
Caribbean.
as with anything in Caribbean, it's Caribbean cricket, but if we tend to focus as well in the Caribbean, you've got... We'll just let this,
Yeah, Everson's in. Vince leaves alone. Comes down the hill though.
We always say never a dull day in West Indies cricket. There's always a drama with the administration and the players, so a lot of it is focusing on the backstage politics that goes on. And obviously in West Indies, you've got the unique selection dilemma of administrators wanting people from their specific nations go in, which no other kind of test nation has to deal with. So there's a lot of it. A lot of what we talk about is what goes on behind the scenes as well.
A lot of political selections and what have you. Vince whips it away down to deep square leg, and he moves on to 79, 165 for 4. There's a lot of that. I mean, what's one of the major issues at the moment surrounding West Indian cricket?
I think it's just trying to improve sort of the test cricket, the test players, and how do you develop those players when financially there's such a disparity between West Indies and England, Australia, India. How do you level out the playing field?
Everson in again, this time to Dawson. Dawson's on the back foot. That goes out into the covers.
Even smaller things like the regional tournament, getting flights in between islands is so expensive as well, and that's a massive cost. And Johnny Grave, who's been the chief executive for Cricket West Indies, he's leaving this month. He's been pretty outspoken about sort of the need for more of a cash injection in the region to sort of try and make everything a bit more fair in terms of competitiveness.
Right. It's got a slip in still, Everson. So Dawson does find the gap in the covers this time. Moves on to 19, 166 for 4. Do you think because of the unique way and the logistics of going between the islands that perhaps they do deserve more money?
Yeah, definitely, because no other nation has to sort of deal with that in terms of if you're from the Leeward Islands and you're playing in Guyana, it's expensive to get an internal flight, and so those kind of things add up.
Vince on strike this time. Everson's in, bowls. Vince plays that into the ground, and that'll be the end of the over. Everson's 10 overs, 1 for 42. Hampshire 166 for 4. Vince on 79 and Dawson on 19. That 1 wicket since the resumption after tea. Ben Brown, who got underneath a pull shot to George Garrett, and Joey Everson took a good catch deep backward square. He was out for 9. That was 135 for 4.
And I think also it's the problem with the current West Indies players is no matter what happens, they always get compared to that great generation that went 12 years unbeaten. But that was a once-in-a-lifetime cohort of players. It's hard to ever replicate that sort of dominance.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, actually.
As Parkinson into Dawson. Dawson steps back and drives it on the off and takes a single.
I heard Carl Brathwaite say similar. Talks very well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and he was asked, obviously, at the end of that series, what he thought, and he said, you just got to move away from this side being compared to the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
So Parkinson in to Vince. Picks up a single, just drives it down to mid-off. I mean, if you look at the depth and the talent they had there, you mentioned obviously Malcolm Marshall at Hampshire, and then you had, Michael Holding, Andy Roberts, Joel Garner, Colin Croft. Just the depth they had.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So Parkinson into Liam Dawson. Oh, swept, driven and lofted. Is that gone? One bounce and a 4. So just hit food at deep mid wicket and taken for a 4, and that was a wonderful shot there from Dawson.
Yeah, again, it's just short of a length, and he just cannot. He has to pitch it up here now.
Yeah.
To know that, but of course, being a leg spinner, sometimes it just comes out of the hand fractionally different, and anything short of a length is just standing up.
Yeah. So Parkinson in to Dawson once again, and this time blocked by Dawson.
So the difference now, though, is, I mean, there's too many other sports now around the West Indies. I mean, that never used to be the case.
Yeah. And particularly with Jamaica, the government chose not to host any games during the T20 World Cup. They don't have a CPL franchise anymore. As Parkinson into Dawson once again, and Dawson drives at it, but no run taken, just picked up on the offside. Yeah, in Jamaica particularly, you've got athletics, you've got football, so there are other competing sports. And also the thing with football and athletics, if you're a child, it's not as cost prohibitive to kind of get into those sports, whereas cricket costs a lot of money to play recreationally. And just a single picked up there by Dawson. And that's the end of the over. Hampshire 173 for 4. So it is a shame because, the Caribbean has such a rich legacy in cricket. It is a shame to kind of see how it's gone. But as you said, now, even within cricket, the franchise opportunities you get also means loyalties are split and there's economic factors at play, more so than there was in the 70s and 80s.
Is it quite damaging that Jamaica doesn't have a CPL franchise?
Yeah, I think definitely. They were one of the inaugural sides to have it, and obviously massive cricket heritage. And so if you're a fan in Jamaica, you're losing out on all that live cricket. If you're a youngster in Jamaica, you're not seeing as much cricket as you normally would by them not having a franchise. So it's a massive blow, I think, for the region.
So they still play first class, but
they still play first class. Yeah.
Because it does seem from a distance that it's all about athletics over there. And I suppose Usain Bolt, and there was a few guys before him, wasn't there? I wouldn't say their names in case I got it wrong, but I know, roughly a few others before that. But that seems to have just taken over the island.
Yeah, no, athletics is massively popular, and also football as well, like the Reggae Boys.
Right.
They're obviously quite popular. So there's other competing loyalties.
Now, Jas Singh is switching ends from the Nackington Road end with his seamers, and immediately he's driven by Dawson out into the deep square on the offside, where Kent do have a fielder, so it's just a single. Dawson moves on to 26, and he's 174 for 4. Jas Singh, who bowled his 5 previous overs from this pavilion end, was bowling at a time when Vince was in the early part of his innings and didn't miss out on a thing. So he's 5 overs and 1 ball, none for 29, looking to carry on where Stobo and Everson have recently left off, keeping the innings a little quieter, and Vince as well. Ooh. Wrapped on the pads. Oh, that looked a good shout coming down the hill. That looked as though it's just nipped back a bit. Maybe it's done a bit too much. But that's a good start from the 21-year-old who's, as we've mentioned earlier, looking to establish himself in this Kent setup. And he's playing his 10th first-class match, having made his first-class debut back in 2021. He does seem to have all the attributes. Have you had a look at that again? I just missed the replay of that, actually. But it looked a good shout, I have to say. There's been 1 or 2 good shouts against Vince. He's cut that away, back with a point. Unfortunately, the outfield is slow, but not that slow. So it's gone for 4. I thought that was going to be pulled up and stopped by the fielder, but it kept going. And Vince moves on to 84 from 102. And 78 for 4. Just let himself down there a little bit, Singh. Really good ball, the ball before, and then he's just asked the ball to do too much there. It's stayed out, well outside off stump. And with the lack of bounce, just makes it easier for the batters here. You can stay on top of the bounce quite easy.
Yeah.
And that's what the batters love. On top of the bounce, hit through, down and through. Here's Singh again, down the leg side this time. Vince looks suitably aggrieved that he's missed out on clipping that away. Probably wasn't that far down the leg side because Vince has had a habit of moving outside off stump. So it probably didn't miss the leg stump by too much, to be honest. 178 for 4. Yeah, I'm just watching that again. Actually, it has gone quite a bit of the way down the leg, down the hill, down the leg side. Singh again. That's worked to mid wicket. So, who would be the main cricketers from Jamaica these days? Who would be the top names?
I'm trying to think who.
There really isn't.
So you obviously got Rovman Powell, who's captain of the T20 side. He's sort of the main figurehead. You had more recently Jermaine Blackwood, O'Shane Thomas in the Test side, but generally, again, you're not seeing as many breaking through from the region.
No.
From Jamaica, sorry.
And is the club set up not particularly strong anymore? As that's whipped away by Vince, and that is just a signal. I might have to leave you to it for a minute or two, Santoki.
And that's the end of the over. So Hampshire 179 for 4. Vince 85, Dawson 26. And we looks like we'll continue with Matt Parkinson from the pavilion end. Gone for a few runs off his 3 overs, 15 runs. Managed to get some turn, but again has bowled short and was punished in the last over by Liam Dawson. So we know what a quality bowler Parkinson is. I'm sure he'll come back with some variations in this over. As in he goes to James Vince on strike, and Vince just blocks it. So Parkinson once again from the pavilion end. Into James Vince, and Vince just taps it on the leg side, but there's no run taken. Picked up by the wicketkeeper Finch. So Vince just looks at the field placements around. Just one fielder at slip. Wicketkeeper close in. So Parkinson in again to Vince. Ooh, just misses the edge. Drew Vince out there. The ball just turned and missed the edge. So Parkinson just moves the fielder out to backward square leg. In he goes again to Vince, and Vince leaves at this time. Vince on 85, so nearing towards that century. Parkinson in again to Vince. Again, just put it leg side. Picked up by Parkinson. Parkinson in again to Vince. Just hit on the offside. No run taken. And that's a maiden over from Matt Parkinson. And with that, I'm going to bring Matt Coles onto commentary.
So, 179 for 4 Hampshire then, as Jazz Singh comes into bowl, and it's left by Liam Dawson. Look back at his off stump, absolutely fine. Through to wicketkeeper Harry Finch, fielded by Jack Leaning. Jaden Denley's on the field as a sub, I think still for George Garrett. And Jack Leaning is warming his right arm up. Will they get a bit of off spin maybe from the vice captain? Vince 85, Dawson 26. These two coming together at 135 for 4, so 64 added. No, my maths is awful. The ball in into the onside. No, it's not even close, is it? It's 44 added at this point. 179 for 4.
I'll take 64.
I was just adding runs for the heck of it, but yeah, Vince 85 has looked superb all the way through. Liam Dawson starting slowly, but there's a great partnership between these two, an important one as well. Again, 135 for 4, and wickets just either side of the interval as well. A bit of bad light interrupting as well. Garrett bowling really well, has 3 so far. And Kevin James, I think they'll be pretty pleased with this platform at this point.
I think overall, yes. I think Kent have just bowled better since the tea break. They bowled better collectively, which means that Hampshire perhaps have just had to re-evaluate a little bit. They're certainly not scoring. Certainly Vince isn't scoring as freely as he had been earlier.
Singh now bowling to Dawson. Forward on that one, up to mid-on. There's no run.
But it's almost as if it's taken a softer ball that's not doing quite as much to bring Kent, better into line as a collective, as a bowling collective.
I'm trying to keep things tight at the moment. No maidens for Singh so far. It's going around about 5 and over. That's one slip that man Jack Leaning I was talking about was warming up before, wondering if his off spin might be a a weapon they can use. Sing to Dawson. Defends that into the offside. Jaden Denley picks up the sub-fielder. He's got a bit of a golden arm, as Jack Leaning. One of those bowlers that comes on and quite often will take a wicket in a couple of overs. I think they could do with one here, with Hampshire solidifying in the middle order. Sing turns to Liam Dawson. Does work that one on the onside. Bit of bat and pad. It's the maiden over, and I think that's genuine applause from the Kent fans for a maiden over from Jazz Singh. He's found it very, very difficult in county championship cricket to keep the runs down. And yeah, cheers for him. Small victories for Kent. 179 for 4. I heard you and Santoki talking about Liam Dawson's figures. I picked out I hadn't realised quite the extent of how well he's done. And saying, quite frankly, you'd take either of those as a batter or a bowler, wouldn't you? But together, 700 runs at 58 and 42 wickets. Absolutely astonishing.
Player of the season, he's on course for it again.
Yeah.
Without really thinking who else there is to be another candidate. Here's Matt Parkinson. With his leg breaks. Vince drives pleasantly out to short extra cover. Simon Jones is listening and watching, who's the cricket development manager at Hampshire, on the Hampshire Cricket Board. sonatcricket@gmail.com. We were talking also with Santoki about travelling costs between islands, why West Indies perhaps need a bit more money from the ICC than some of the other, or relatively. That's another drive to short extra cover. He's brought it a little closer to home, has Simon, in terms of on the south coast. The only other example of inter-island travel costs which springs to mind is the cost of travel for clubs to and from the Isle of Wight. Playing club cricket, with the Sonat reputedly being the most expensive outside the off-stump left alone by Vince stretches of water on the planet. I think it is actually. I think
is it really?
Pence per mile. I think when I mentioned that before in some other context, somebody actually said no. There's another ferry somewhere in the world that's pound per mile more expensive, but there's only about another one. That's turned away square on the leg side. Vince picks up a single, moves on to 86, 180 for 4.
And the various of our clubs, non-league football and rugby, have played Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bit of an epic.
That's not
well, for Jersey as well, to come over to play in Kenton.
Every other week.
Yes, yeah, quite.
Not ideal. Dawson drives, and that goes out to extra cover. Half stop, but they'll come through for another one. Who's that with the snood there?
That's Mieye.
That's Mieye,
yeah. He's finally taken it down a little bit so we can actually see some of his face, which makes it a bit easier to identify him, as he's got wearing a cable knit as well. So.
Right. Well, normally when there's cameras on you and you've got something like that covering your face, you're told to take it off. Vince on the back foot. Mieye comes round to his left. Will throw. Dawson have to hurry. But he's okay. 183. Yeah, there'd be certain situations, wouldn't you? You'd be told to lower your mask because the cameras need to see your full face. But I guess he gets away with it on cameras here.
You mean cricket-wise, so
facial
that
recognition.
Everyone can.
Yes.
Oh, I see what you mean. I think he's quite well known. I mean, but I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Doesn't make it any easier for the commentators either, does it? Really?
Well, no, I suppose he's the only one that's covered up the way he is.
Yes, that's true.
It looks a bit out of place, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Jordan Cox used to be, certainly during April, used to be almost entirely covered with Tawana Mieye is obviously of that feeling as well. Jazz Singh bowling over the wicket now to James Vince. And plays that up to mid-off. Andrew Harrison's been in touch again. Thank you for that. And he's talking about a classy and patient knock from James Vince. I read that already. Albie's been in touch as well. Albie, great to hear from you on our BBC Kent Sport. With the Test match over, it's nice to watch Hampshire's dynamic duo Vince and Dawson having a bat. Wonder why England always ignore them in the white ball game. It's Jazz Singh bowling to Vince, drives up to mid-off. It's a diving stop by Daniel Bell-Drummond, which allows this pair, Dawson and Vince, to run through for a single, 183 for 4. I'm sure this is something you've addressed a number of times because they are both very, very fine players and both have knocked on the door of the England camp in various.
Play for the country but aren't actually playing. And those two epitomise that.
As Singh bowls to Dawson up towards mid-off. It's almost, dare we say, it's a sort of sweet spot for county supporters, isn't it, for strength of county sides. I was talking to somebody the other day about the Essex bowling attack. If you can keep Jamie Porter and Sam Cook and have them a whole season, and they both by and large have played an awful lot of games as well without breaking down. So yeah,
absolutely perfect.
But if you've got these fancied hands that want to go off and play Test cricket, honestly, is international cricket Singh to Dawson into the offside and there's no run.
Well, you often hear the saying, you know, when counties are looking to sign players and what have you, they say, well, the ideal player would be somebody good enough to play for England but not actually playing for England. That is your ultimate signing.
That's true enough, though, yeah.
And you've got two out there in the middle right now.
Yeah.
Hampshire have.
Absolutely, and Kent are finding it very difficult to get them out at the moment. 183 for 4. 2 off a half-century partnership. Dawson gets on the front foot, but without any great alarms. He pushes it into the offside. Ben Compton fields it. Asks Jazz Singh if he wants it back immediately. The answer's no. It's looped up towards Daniel Bell-Drummond. There's no run. But yeah, great to have your company on social media and on the emails as well. kentcricket@gmail.com and at BBC Kent Sport. As this one's dropped into the offside, play and run. James Vince is not for running, I think it's fair to say. He's leaning on his bat at the other end. End of the over, 183 for 4. And the usual Solent contact.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think we can use that, but we can use yours, really. It's silly giving too many out, otherwise. Even I'll get confused.
I was going to say, I'm very easy to confuse myself, so
we use yours, it's quite easy. Do you have an email here from Ralph Booker, though, who says Liam Dawson topped the topped the first-class bowling averages for Hampshire last year, third in their first-class batting averages as well. Top pro, he says. Can't really say too much more about Dawson, the way he's playing at the moment. Tip top. Here's Parkinson again. Oh, that's turned. Vince is forward. And that has turned a long way, but it is slow. And there is not a lot of bounce. It's a great ball, but it doesn't feel particularly threatening because of the reasons I've just mentioned. But it's still good bowling. And I'm sure over the course of this game, it will pick up wickets. He's pitched it just right. Vince does go in the air. Oh, it's a great catch. A short extra cover. Had absolutely no right to take that. Wow. Vince in the end couldn't hold back any longer, and he's paid the price. 88 he goes for, but an absolutely stupendous catch.
That's extraordinary from Joe Denley. He just whirled his arms at it and somehow has picked it up. Fantastic fielding. And I mean, he's a sort of fielder that can do that. We were talking earlier about his injuries and perhaps if he's as quick over the ground as he used to be, but that is just astonishing. Up in the air, Denley has thrown a hand at it. I thought that's going for, well, it's going for at least 4. It's way above his head. That's extraordinary. Back after injury, and well, they've missed that kind of thing. Any side would. 183 for 5. James Vince will be wondering how on earth he is walking back to the pavilion at that point. Hard hit shot in the air, and Denley just plucks it out of the air at cover.
So that ends that partnership of 48. And some entertainment there from James Vince, although the entertainment was starting to wear thin compared to the first half of his innings. As I say, mainly because Kent have bowled a little tighter. But James Vince in the end just couldn't hang back any longer.
Yeah, it's a bonus for Parkinson, obviously. I mean, obviously he's bowled all right, but that's definitely is one you're not expecting to take. But nicely done, Joe Denley.
So Tom Prest walks out into the middle. It's 21-year-old who's also having a pretty good season with the bat for Hampshire, averaging 59. In fact, he's the top. Has the highest average of any of the Hampshire players in the championship this year, playing his 8th game And he too has 200s to his name this season. Got his first 100 towards the back end of last year, and he's backed it up with 2 already this year. Now, interesting field now, isn't it? That's the youngster in. Let's just put a little pressure. There's a slip and a gully. Again, for me, it's got pretty dark again all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It does feel as though the lights are starting to have a bit of an effect, and I think that's usually the sign that the umpires will start having a look. Just feels as though the brightness out there in the middle is caused by the floodlights. Press drives. Thick outside edge as it goes out to backward a point. Well, the good thing about Parkinson is he's not frightened to give it a bit of air.
No, always will.
Yeah.
So, well, that's what had Vince driving.
Definitely. Definitely. And I don't think Prest will hold back. We'll have to wait and see. Parkinson bowls, a little too short. That's the length, it's too easy for the batters. Needs to get the batters on the front foot, but you don't need me telling him that.
I guess a measure of that catch is if Joe Denley hadn't held that, would we even have mentioned it a ball or two later? You just go, it was uppish.
True, yes, that's true, yes. That's flighted and left alone.
You wouldn't be saying, well, that was half a chance there. Maybe not a full chance, but half a chance, would you? It would just have flashed away over Denley's head, and we'd have just got on with it. But yeah, fantastic.
I love this email from Eddie Lawrence. It's under the heading of travelling between the islands. That is definitely flighted, and that's a low full toss, and it's driven past Denley at short extra cover. Oh, he weren't that good that time, was he? 100. God, how bad of the comment was that? Anyway,
That's 0 to 0 in 3 balls. That
184. There's a bitter commentator if ever heard one. Good over from Parkinson, though. It says, good afternoon, chaps. Interested to hear the logistical nightmare of travel between the Caribbean nations for the cricketers. And on the south coast, we moan about the cost of travel between the mainland and the Isle of Wight. I'm now encountering my own bad light problems in the Algarve, as the swimming pool has a shadow over it. And he sent me the picture as well, and he's right. It's encroaching on that swimming pool. Says Eddie, and he's back to Romsey tomorrow, so holiday over. Thoughts
and prayers, mate, honestly. Shadow over the pool in the Algarve.
God, what problems?
Can you imagine?
What problems?
84 for 5. I thought he was going to mention Brownsea Island for a moment or something like that. We were going to go for You ain't seen nothing yet. Is that Dorset, though? Or is that Devon or Dorset, Brownsea Island? It's not Hampshire,
Brownsea Island is Poole. Yeah, so that's
Dorset. Yeah. Gotcha. Where the squirrels live, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I've been there. I've been on the ferry over to Brownsea Island, but yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Anyway, I do digress. Almost always. Here's Singh, none for 35 from his 8, bowling to Prest. Yeah, he does look to get forward and drive up to mid-on, and there's no run. 27 for Dawson. At the other end, a surprise departure of James Vince in the previous over.
No, you're right. It's one of the safest and largest strongholds of red squirrels in the south of England. A great place to do some spotting. But of course, I forget you're into your wildlife, aren't you?
I am indeed, yeah.
You are.
Here's Singh bowling to Prest. Tries that again. He gets a single this time up to Matt Parkinson at wide mid-on. There's no run.
And that's not a Mickey take.
No, it's not.
You really are.
I've not been to Brownsea Island though. I'd love to go at some point, but yeah, it's only open some months of the year, isn't it? I think because it's difficult to get sea passage there. You can tell how much I know about boats.
Captain Matt Coles.
Bit more about wildlife. It's a thing to leading edge from Dawson as he comes forward. And he looks sick with the world as he goes back to his crease as Dawson. Bit of an errant shot, and there's no run. 185 for 5.
I didn't know it was closed. It's open from.
Is that right?
It's open from Saturday, March the 16th to Sunday, November the 3rd. It can be closed also to adverse weather. Oh, right. Due to adverse weather.
Here's Singh to Dawson, dropped into the offside and single taken. 186 for 5. So I don't think it's just to give the wildlife a break.
Oh, I never knew that.
But only a certain amount of people allowed at the same time, I think, as well.
And the National Trust can confirm a closure by 3 p.m. the day before if they're going to close it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh.
I think you have to be a certain quality of person, which is why I've never got on it, I think, as well. That's probably the reason. Don't want the riff-raff. Mixing with the squirrels. Here's 186 for 5. Pressed faces. Jaden Denley at the short mid-on there. There he is. Finds him. I think that's Jaden Denley there. He threw it back with his right hand, which makes me doubt my... Or is he in the offside now? That might be Compton, actually, beg your pardon. At this short mid-on position. About 3/4 of the way down the strip. Left foot almost on the pitch. As pressed faces straight at him, that one. One bounce to... I think to Compton there, and that is the end of the over. It is indeed. And 186 for 5 then. Hampshire with William Dawson 28, Tom Prest 2 so far. 3 minutes off 5 o'clock. Still 23 overs available. Though the light, well, with the natural going down of the sun won't be great. And if we've got cloud as well, that might be an issue. So we'll need some clearer weather, I think, to go the whole stretch today.
Yeah. 10:30 starts, half an hour early finish. No way. We're getting out about an hour later.
We done at 5:30? No, not a chance.
No chance. Oh well.
Talking of bitterness.
Yeah. Another one. Another
thinking about his tea.
Here's Parkinson then.
Pitch, you can understand that. These are our job, but you're right. You can look around you occasionally.
Yeah.
But
I hope that makes him feel better, because I'm sure that was a difficult decision for him to come to. So Dawson's off the back foot, steers it into the gap on the offside and moves on to 29, 187 for 5.
I mean, there's been some vitriol on social media, but what sports team or public figure doesn't have that, I suppose, in regards to Kent's form this season. But he'll genuinely be missed around the place, I think, as a personality and as a coach.
As we said earlier, 16 years as a player and 8 as a head coach. It's amazing. Now that's a flat bat shot by Prest. It's in the air momentarily as it goes out to point. Hence the shouts of catch it. Bounced well short of point in the end though. 187 for 5. Sounds like the crowd's woken up a little bit actually in the last few overs.
Decent over from Parkinson as well. I think they're just trying to turn the screw now, aren't they, with Vince having gone. Prest perhaps taking a bit of a risk with that shot, but...
I hadn't really noticed the crowd until recently. Got enthusiastic over a maiden.
Yeah.
Which I thought I'd bowler had taken a 5 for. I've heard less applause for a 5-wicket haul.
Well, I think, and I don't think it's just any sort of gallows humour. I think most supporters here and the members have accepted that this is almost certainly going to be relegation for Kent, and perhaps they've just come to enjoy their cricket and enjoy what they can in terms of Kent performances as well. And good on them for giving encouragement. 187 for 5 for a team absolutely under the pump. So it's defended into the offside. I did ask our good friend Philip Bailey from Cricket Archive about this run of Kent's. 6 consecutive defeats, and well, what question I'm asking that is that a record? And it does equal a championship record, an ignominious one. 1897, they lost 6 in a row. So Singh bowls to Dawson. Toe in that one, but into the offside. But they've never gone 7 in a row. And obviously that's not a record that anybody in this team is particularly interested in having to their name. Thank you for that, Albie. I'll read out this tweet in just a second. I'm loving this island chat. I can't believe we started talking about the Caribbean and now we're talking about Brownsea. And back to the Isle of Wight in a second. Single taken to the onside. Albie, thank you for this. He says, they've got red squirrels on the Isle of Wight. If you can afford to make the crossing. There we go. Exotic fauna of UK islands. There we are. Having heard what I've just heard, Albie, about the Isle of Wight, I had no idea what an expensive stretch of water it was. I doubt I can afford it, to be honest. I know Ben Watts went there a couple of seasons ago. Was it?
Yes.
Last season, maybe. As Sing bowls to Prest.
Sure.
That's nicely guided through the offside. Good stop as well by Daniel Beldrum. Good cricket all round. Single taken. 189 for 5.
And the good news is they don't close the Isle of Wight.
They don't.
For any reason. It feels like they have done a couple of times when you go. But they don't actually officially close it. It does feel dead sometimes, especially in the winter.
Oh, I see what you mean. Fair enough.
Yeah, they don't officially close it.
It's not like the land that time forgot or something. I know they've got dinosaurs there, haven't they? Is that right? Is Jazz Singh, they did have. Jazz Singh to Liam Dawson back at the bowler. Am I wrong in saying that? Is that...
What, currently?
No, obviously not currently. Is it a Black Gang China? Is that right? I'm just remembering this dim, distant future, past. Getting confused now. That was the first time. As ball into the offside. There we are. Some of the UK's largest animatronic dinosaurs. A dinosaur park. No?
I must have been there. I can't remember when I was young. Younger.
I feel like I'm going absolutely insane, but I found this on the internet as well, so please,
right.
people of the Isle of Wight, Hampshire, back me up on this one.
I'm sure you're right.
I went as a cub, I think, Cub Scout maybe at the age of 7 or 8. And but when you blanked me there, I was just thinking, I've just lost my mind, frankly. But
no, you're probably right. It's just that I don't know.
Well,
that's the
not
thing.
been there to see that, fair enough.
Yeah.
So they may well still be lively, but not actually alive.
Parkinson started a new over and pressed his drive into short extra cover. Joe Denley is still there. Not surprising after that wonderful catch. To get rid of Vince. He's got a slip still in Parkinson. Bowls and Prest is on the back foot and just quietly plays that out to point. So Prest has 3 from 11. We still have just under 21 overs to do in the day's play. Parkinson a little quicker this time, a little straighter. And Prest is taking a quick signal up to mid-on. That's good running. Is that Ben Compton?
Yeah, it is indeed.
Maybe just a little bit on his heels there. 190 for 5.
I'll be butting in rudely in a second for an update,
no,
but
leave that to
the
you.
travel bulletin's going on quite a while.
Feels like the whole Kent's at a standstill.
It does, right?
Pushed to extra cover, and there's
I
no
might as well stay here anyway.
There is no way out, and no way in.
Got a spare room. Here we go. Update coming for you now. They've taken a wicket since you last joined us, Adam, as well. An astonishing catch by Joe Denley back in the side after a knee injury. Ball driven above his head at cover. He's sort of whirled his arms at it. He's got off the ground as well. Somehow he's come down with the ball. You will not see the like of that very often. 195 for 5 then Hampshire. It was the important wicket as well of Hampshire. Captain James Vince gone for 88. Kent won the toss, put Hampshire in. I think just about even Stevens on the first day. Cloudy it is here at Canterbury. We lost the first session to rain as well. Kent really needing to win their remaining 3 games in the county championship to have any chance of saving themselves from relegation. This will be perhaps the toughest test of the last 3 against third place Hampshire. Elsewhere internationally, Sri Lanka have beaten England by 8 wickets, 219 for 2 they finished today. England's women have beaten Ireland in a one-day international by 275 runs. Tammy Beaumont from Kent hitting 150 not out, her 10th ODI century. Elsewhere for our county teams, Surrey are at Somerset. Somerset batting on 305 for 6, big total against the reigning county champions. And Sussex going really, really well. Bowled Glamorgan out in Division 2 for 186 and then 91 for none, making progress towards that total already on the first day. Commentary continuing of these games via the BBC Sport website and app. Sing back to his mark. First one was a dot ball. And Prest on 4, faces now. And wrap on the power, but going down the leg side, and there's no run.
Oh, Singh's been so much better in this spell. He's just dropped into a good little rhythm, and that's what he needs to build on now. Just put in spells like this. Don't try and do anything fancy. He's got a lot of attributes. He's tall, decent pace. Not particularly quick, doesn't have to be really. But he's just bowled so much tighter from that Nackington Road in.
Bowling now to press. Oh, he chops onto his stumps. Toe end of the bat, and it's gone past, I think, the leg stump in the end. But bat just dangled down on it. Thing's almost beaten him. But he goes through down the leg side, and a single taken. Let's see on the replay how close that was. You got it there.
Not yet.
And oh, excuse me, that's me coming back at us. The commentary. Singh once more to press. Comes a couple of to Dawson rather. Comes a couple of steps down the pitch. That's no run.
I'm just watching it now. Oh no, missed it. Oh.
I'm having to go back for it myself. Also trying to watch the live cricket at the same time. It's a very difficult job, this. People have no idea. Just this is it now, I think. Oh no, it's not. Oh well. It's gone now. Fifth ball of the 53rd over. Singh bowls to Dawson. Angles that into the offside. Good looking shot off the middle of the bat. Fielded by Compton. Thrown back into the wicketkeeper. And there's a single run. 192 for 5.
Email here from Dave Allen, Hampshire's honorary archivist.
Does he know anything about dinosaurs on the Isle of Wight?
He might do. He might email about that, yeah. We're singing the virtues of Liam Dawson and just what a good player he is and the numbers we've been talking about.
That's Singh bowls to Prest. Defends that for rising delivery. End of the over, just 2 off it. And applause for Jazz Singh as well, getting right behind the Kent bowler, the youngster. 11 overs, 1 maiden, another 41.
So, Dave says, many years ago the cricketer's double of 1,000 runs and 100 wickets in a season was marked and celebrated. It certainly was. Now it's impossible, he says. The last Hampshire man to do the double was Jim Bailey in 1948, but he played in 29 first-class games. Now, if Liam Dawson plays in the final 3 matches, he will have played just 14, so that's half, obviously, slightly less than half. So why don't we consider 500 runs and 50 wickets as the equivalent? Well, that would sound obvious. Liam currently has 706 runs and well past the target. And he has 42 wickets, needing just 8 more in a possible 6 innings. So it does sound like he's very much on for that. Matt Parkinson starts a new over. Flighted. Oh, and there's a leading edge and he's gone. Dawson goes. Caught at gully. It was flighted, it pitched, and Dawson tried to work that away through mid-wicket. Closed the face of the bat, got the leading edge. He goes for 31. Matt Parkinson picks up his 2nd wicket. He's got both Vince and Dawson out. And it's 192 for 6.
Yes, indeed. As you say, leading edge. Got a bit of turn there. There's a replay of this one. And yeah, it's sprung away to Jack Leaning. I think there. No, Charlie Stober, beg your pardon, in at slip. A good safe pair of hands, the Australian. And Parkinson has 2 in a row. 192 for 6. It's actually a fascinating innings, this one, isn't it? It's going back and forth. 54th over now. And Dawson was looking impressive. He's gone for 31.
Just got a message here from Joe. Says the dinosaurs, in brackets not real, were at Black Gang Chine.
All right.
But lots of it has fallen in the sea.
Oh, crikey.
Whether the dinosaurs went with it, I don't know.
Nature
but
for you.
You're right, Black Gang Chine, a theme park down there, isn't it?
Now, Albie says on, thank you again, on X, Twitter as was, the Isle of Wight used to be connected to the Jurassic coast of Dorset millions of years ago. Perhaps that's why there's some sort of dinosaur theme park. A lot of fossils, maybe. There we go. He follows up. Loads of dinosaur fossils found on the beaches. Did you know they also have a polar bear over there? Albie, I don't know whether you just dangling that one out because you expected me to say, oh, really, have they? Have they got a polar bear?
I have no idea about that. It's easy to say no idea.
I hope not wandering around free, because I gather they can be a little bit
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit
I've
aggressive.
not heard of a polar bear wandering around the Isle of Wight, I'll be honest with you.
But I mean, I'm enjoying it though, Albie.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, with your contributions, thank you very much. James Fuller comes out next, 192.46. And Presses 5, Fuller has none so far.
That was a terrific piece of bowling, wasn't it, really?
It was.
I'm just watching it again. It was pitching on leg stump. Dawson just trying to prod it away. Leading edge, looped up. That's a classic leg spinner's wicket, that. Just, it's exactly what you want the batter to do. Just turn the ball away against the spin. He's given it enough flight to give the ball a chance, and it has. It's bitten. And that would have given him a lot of satisfaction. So you have to be careful here a little bit, with Parkinson quite prepared to toss the ball up. It might look enticing, but he's doing it for a reason. And if you wanted a reason why he's doing it, just look at Liam Dawson's wicket. There is some bite there for him. Gosh, I'm just looking at some emails that I've got coming through, all about heading on about Ireland.
Right.
The Isle of Wight has never been thrust in the...
What have we started?
I know, in the spotlight so much as Neil. Here's Parkinson then to Fuller, who's right over that one. Eddie Lawrence, whose pool by now will be completely in the shade in the Algarve, says, any news on whether Hampshire will be returning to Newport next year for a game or games, he says. Our last game on the island was against Kent last year, as you mentioned. That's pushed out towards extra cover. And it was great fun with lots of runs scored and a win for Hampshire, says Eddie. Well, I have mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again for anybody that weren't quite around when I was explaining why there was no game this year. Apparently the only time they could squeeze a game in... Oh, that's beating the outside edge. Terrific stuff here from Matt Parkinson. It was that the only time they could get the game in, it corresponded with Cows Week. So it was decided that logistically that would have been impossible. So I think it's only this year that, unless of course the fixtures next year mean that there's a problem. Forward again. He's got exactly the right length as Parkinson here, bringing the batter forward.
So they've got red squirrels, they've got dinosaurs, they've got polar bears and cows on the Isle of Wight. Is that right?
Cows as in cows. Yeah, you know why you've said that. Thank you. Cows being a place as opposed to cows, of course. Yes, you knew that. That's pushed back to the bowler by Fuller, and that's a wicket maiden. 9 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 21 for the Kent leg spinner. Terrific stuff. Greg Thornett says, excellent commentary, thank you. If your colleague was referring to Blackgang China on the Isle of Wight, one of my favourite venues as a child and then as a parent, I can confirm there are still animatronic dinosaurs there.
There we go.
As well as a group of dodos singing the Bee Gees, Staying Alive. Now I think that is getting a bit ridiculous. Although he has sent me a link, so I might have to check that. Hoping Hampshire can continue to build on this platform, says Greg.
Just seemed to Tom Prest nudged into the onside, and there's a single. I'm beginning to feel like I'm one of those game shows where you have to pick the, like Call My Bluff. You have to pick what's true and what isn't from what our emailers are sending in. So
a group of dodos singing the Bee Gees Staying Alive.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, what self-respecting island doesn't have that, to be honest?
Perfectly natural.
193 for 6. It's not hysterical. Here's Singh over the wicket to Fuller, who can be aggressive himself, can't he, as he's clipped into the onside. Single taken. I seem to remember James Fuller taking a T20 game away from Kent in recent times. That's at the Utilita Bowl. 194 for 6. So we've got 2 batters here that will want to get on with it, is that right, Kevin, more or less?
Well, yeah, certainly Fuller likes to get on with it.
Press perhaps slightly more circumspect and defends that one from Singh. And as you see, Kent are bowling really well here, exploiting what they can, the conditions. The ball is 54.5 overs old now, and there is some pressure on these Hampshire batters.
Definitely. Since tea, they've been excellent.
That catch from Joe Denley, really important to get rid of James Vince, who's the one batter out there today that looks comfortable for long periods of time on this pitch. This one's almost fended away by Preston to the offside. There's no run. And did we miss a changeover somewhere? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know, you're the boss.
Don't say that. I think Santoki could probably wait until 1:30, can't we? If where we are. Yeah, still 17 and a bit overs remaining in the day. Singh then to Prest. And reaches that man at shortish mid-on.
Jazz Singh has just got better, hasn't he? Into this spell, he's just got better and better. A little bit wayward in his opening spell or so from this pavilion, but he's just grown into this one, and he's nearly completed 12 overs. None for 43, which sounds expensive in these conditions, but when you think that his first few overs it were expensive.
Yeah, he's going for 5 and 0, wasn't he, for the first 5 or so. This one driven by Press, straight the man at short mid-on. Fielded, no run, just 2 off that over then, and again, fans applauding that. Parkinson on the other end is finding some turn, and this will be heartening for Matt Parkinson, who, with Kent's injury problems in the seam bowling department, has not just been used as a bowler holding up one end, but sometimes bowling long spells just while the seamers aren't fit enough to do it, or recovering from long spells themselves. So 194 for 6, 2 for 21 for him so far.
Yeah, Stobo since tea, and Everson, to a degree, and now Singh have just done really good jobs. Here's Parkinson then. Forgot it was me. Slip in a gully as forward is Fuller. Again, he's bowling exactly the right spot. This Isle of Wight travel saga continues. David Trott has now emailed. With travel in mind, read cricket and travel to and from the island. Can't believe this all started from travelling between islands and the West Indies.
Yeah.
It's all about the Isle of Wight all of a sudden now. Forward is Fuller again. Some truly epic efforts by the parents of the Hampshire juniors who travel every week to training and games on the mainland. Also a big shout out to Hursley Park under 13 girls team who were off to Lords on Saturday to compete in the ECB national final. Go Hursley Park, says David Trott. Yeah, I knew all about that because Phil Green does some commentary with the Vipers with me. Mentioned it as well. Pushed out on the offside. I've also been sent another link to some polar bear stuff on the Isle of Wight. But
okay.
I'll have to look on that.
This is gathering pace.
Yes, it is. Isle of Wight polar bear something or other. Always playing a miss in there. That's good stuff. He's teasing the batters a bit more now here. I'll have to delve into that. I'm still not convinced. Here's Parkinson again, and it's driven out towards extra cover. Fuller has 1 from 11. Good stuff here from Parkinson. In again to Fuller, and down the leg side. Fuller gets wrapped on the pad trying to work that away. Another maiden over here for Parkinson, so a wicket maiden is followed by a maiden. 10 overs, 3 maidens, 2 for 21. Greg Thornett back on the email as he says, if your colleague was referring to Black Gang Chine on the Isle of Wight.
I was.
Yeah, oh, hang on. Have I read this one out? I may have done. Oh no, here we are, sorry. Yeah, I've read that one out. My comment about building on a platform was before Dawson's wicket fell. The BG singing dodos are real, trust me. And he has sent me a link to that. I'm not
I feel
sure.
like saying, are they in the room with you now?
Yes. I'm not sure I'm really in the mood to listen to that, but he has sent me a link. I might try it out later, Greg. There you go.
It sounds utterly entertaining, doesn't it?
Yes.
Possibly.
Not to be missed. Would you like me to send you the link so you would have that pleasure for later?
Well, why not? Yeah, absolutely. George Garrett has, he's returned to the field in the last few overs, and he is back on to, which is, again, this is, if you look how old the ball is, 56 overs. Just wonder if these seam bowlers are going to need to do something at this point, or whether Daniel Bell-Drummond thinks, well, I've got Parkinson really is holding down one end now. is very difficult to hit. I can bowl my other bowlers in short burst. Garrett's the pick of them so far in terms of wickets. 3 as Prest gets on the front foot, drives it into the onside, a little bit inside part of the bat. Joe Denley goes down somewhat heavily to mid-wicket. And thank you, Kevin. He sent that on. Thank you.
Yes.
I thank you to our listeners as well for saving me from thinking I just made up a bunch of dinosaurs on the Isle of Wight. But it was a long time ago. Longer and longer, obviously, as the days passed since I was a cub scout on the Isle of Wight, driven by Prest, stopped at short mid-on, and there's no run.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a feature from the seamers from the far end, the Nackington Road end, who were getting the ball just to come down the hill a fraction. Yeah. And of course, the whole thing is slowing up off the pitch because it's a soft ball. But the fields have been well set. You know, short mid-wicket. There's a mid-on slightly deeper, but the mid-on on the drive very straight, almost in front of the non-striking batters. It's made it very difficult to pierce that field. So if somebody's bowling straight, as they've predominantly done since tee, it's very difficult for the batters to get it away.
Stobo out a deep point now as Prest moves forward up towards mid-off. Why would they have put Stobo out a deep point now unless he's going to bowl shorter?
I think it's more of a defensive.
I was going to say, it feels defensive.
Yeah, I think it's more for anything short outside the off stump. It's more for anything full outside the off stump, really, where the batters can just work it away. But rather than pierce the field and get 2 or 3, there's only ever 1. So I think it's a defensive measure.
I suppose you could say it's attacking in the sense of keeping the runs down, forcing shots. But that one's past mid-wicket. That's very nicely played by Tom Prest. But I think Tuanda Mieye is going to get the ball. Sidearm throw in. As I said before, Tuanda Mieye can sidearm a ball faster and further than most of us can throw it overarm. Just whips it in from the boundary.
Yeah, he's defensive in that he's frustrating the Hampshire batters.
Yeah.
You know, there was a period this afternoon, wasn't there, before tea, where he threatened to get away with the first innings in getting away from Kent, but they've pulled it back well and not really giving Hampshire too much to keep the scoreboard ticking along with.
2 off that previous ball, by the way. He says cut away, so there we are, that is the one. And Charlie Stobo will keep that to 2. No boundary for them, but a little bit wide from Garrett and nicely played by Tom Prest, who goes on to 10. Hampshire 198 for 6.
Rob Barnes talking about Kent positioned a short straight mid-wicket for Tom Preston. I've seen him out a few times there earlier this season, says Rob. Do you think it's a slight weakness? I just think it's a weakness for any of the batters, and we've seen James Vince dropped in that area earlier in his innings. When the ball gets soft and you've got the natural downslope, it's quite easy for the ball to go in the air there.
It's Garrett bowls to Prest, driven up to mid-off. Daniel Bell Drummond fields the Kent captain. And that's the end of the over. 198 for 6 Hampshire. Interestingly poised, I think, this day's cricket. Well, it's been fascinating. The ebbs and flows we like to talk about, don't we, in 4-day cricket, in longer form cricket. This really has today, as you say, with Hampshire threatening to get away with Vince and Dawson at the crease, and then Kent beginning a run of dot balls together. Great catch by Denley, perhaps changing the momentum as well. Still a good hour of cricket, you'd think, if they can, if the light stays good enough. At nearly 5:30, 198 for 6. Prest has 10, Fuller has 1.
Yeah, they've definitely frustrated Hampshire since the break, that is for sure. You feel that if Hampshire, ideally, in this game, though they'd be put into bat, they needed a big first inning score. Are they really going to get one that would make a huge situation? Oh, just where he's down the wicket, he's missed-stumped. Oh, it's beaten everybody. It beat Fuller, it beat the keeper. It turned too much. And in the end, it's a bye. I don't think Fuller's got anything on that. It is signalled leg byes. Oh, he has. He's got a little bit of his body or his pad on that, fortunately. In the end, see, there's a bit of frustration there. Fuller's coming down the wicket. And that's dangerous when the ball's turning away. And of course, it's turning down slope. He's a bit lucky there. He's trying to flick that away on the leg side as well as he's come down the wicket. Parker Parkinson might consider himself a bit unlucky there. He hasn't picked up a third. Goes for the sweep shot. Low full toss there, Tom Prest. But there was a fielder out deep. And that's the 200 up for Hampshire in the 58th. I think there's a group of Hampshire supporters below us, actually. I'd be surprised if the Kent supporters were applauding and shouting as enthusiastically. But yeah, you know, even if he put in over or under overcast skies, you're still looking to get a good first innings total in and put Kent under pressure. It's not quite that yet. He's trying to sweep and he's wrapped on the pad. I thought it looks like already he's decided that he's not just going to prod around as he has done up until now. He's decided not to come down the wicket because that was a bit risky. Sweeping probably equally as risky. Now the field changes, which is probably part of the plan, just to try and get fielders in different positions. Parkinson in again. Oh, he's beaten outside the off stump. That's a beautiful delivery. Flighted, bring the batter forward, pitch turns away. People that love watching leg spin bombing will love this at the moment.
Yeah.
Bowling to Fuller once more. Bowls and Fuller's on the back foot. We'll take a quick single as mid-on is fairly deep. In a way, Fuller won't mind the gully going out, because gully going out to backward a square leg, if he decides not to sweep again, that backward a square leg field is a waste of space. The more likely dismissal is the one at gully, i.e. how Dawson was out. So Fuller might think that actually that's a bit of a gain. And there's only a slip for Tom Prest now and a backward a square leg. Prest has equally gone for the sweep as he has done there, and that, again, that's beaten everybody. And that will go for a single something or 2 runs of something. I don't think that's off the bat. What is umpire Paul? Oh, is that Ian Blackwell this end? I think it is off the bat.
Yeah, it's Carpet, yeah.
Oh, just a smallest of edges. 203 for 6. Another good over there from Parkinson. He's starting to cause some real problems. And we still have 14 overs left in the day.
It's a lot of fun watching him, isn't it? And Santoki going to come in and replace you, Kevin. Thank you very much. 5:30. Still 14 overs remaining and the lights holding, so we could well get them. Obviously, they'll be spin from one end for the moment. I can't see any reason why Kent would take Matt Parkinson off now. 2 for 25 off 11 overs and 3 maidens. Garrett bowling at the other end. And I hope you enjoyed the fare so far. 203 for 6 for Hampshire. Just checking the emails and the Twitter as well. No, Albie's got more news about the polar bear. Thank you, Albie, on the Isle of Wight. Here's Garrett then, bowling to Fuller. Going to get forward there, ends up at short mid-on, and there's no run. Thank you, Albie. Oh, lovely views of the Isle of Wight, I have to say, across the water. If you look at the cliffs by the Needles from the coast of the New Forest, the shape of the chalk looks like a polar bear. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. It's known the Isle of Wight polar bear. Thank you very much, Albie. That sorts it out. And I've got a video of Dodo singing the Bee Gees for me later on, which is that's a treat for after the day's play's finished. Here's Garrett to Fuller on the leg side. Fuller slightly off balance as he tries to play that. Taken by Harry Finch. No wicket. 203 for 6, and Santoki back with us.
Yeah, I'm back. We've had a sensational.
I'm just going to adjust your microphone there. Wait me a second. For everyone here. I think. Oh no! Wait a minute. Is that right? Oh no.
Nope.
It was right the first time. Is that better?
Yeah, but yeah, perfect. I think so. Yeah, yeah. We've had a sensational Denley catch. Isle of Wight, dinosaurs, Bee Gees, dodos. It's all happening in this session.
What more could you ask for? Wasn't expecting that. As he driven into the offside, fielded by Compton, and there is no run.
The staggering thing is this all started from me telling Kevin how expensive it was to go from Jamaica to Guyana.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, the island hopping has now turned to umpire Poll at the end has replaced the bails. Is he doing a Stuart Broad there? Is he trying to get Kent a wicket? Is there all sorts of skullduggery No, almost certainly not. Here's Garrett then to bowl to Fuller. There's no run as it's pushed up to mid-off, and again I find it more difficult to score now, Hampshire. Both Singh and now Garrett at that far end, keeping things much tighter. And no run. Defended into the offside. Still 13 and a bit overs remaining. Hampshire 203 for 6. Here's Garrett then. 3 wickets to his name so far. And just manoeuvred into the onside by Fuller. He'll take himself a single. The score goes on to 204 for 6. Precious 13. Fuller has 3 so far. These two coming together at 192 for 6. With the demise of Liam Dawson. Turning delivery from Parkinson at second slip. Shortish gully. Oh, that's on the pad. That looks look good from here.
Did.
Umpire not at all interested. So it's fair to say. Leg by, Paul Pollard says.
Confident appeals as well.
Yeah, last ball of the over. Garrett's just watching the replay here.
Maybe just missing leg.
Yeah, didn't look terrible though.
No.
Lots of the appeals there, and that's the end of the over. I'm just going to adjust your headset, Santok, if you don't mind handing it to me. I think I've probably got you in a muddle here. Is that what? Oh no, okay, that's what it is. Righty-ho. I think it's. Is it other way around? Sorry, this is great radio, isn't it? You can't see what I'm doing. I think it has to be this way around. There we go, and we'll hear you more clearly.
Is that better?
It is indeed. I'll get that close to your mouth if I may. There we go. All sorts of adjustments.
Cheers.
There we go.
Thank you.
So we're getting up in your grill, as they term it. Parkinson to bowl.
Parkinson into Prest. Just driven by Prest for a single on the offside.
Yeah, this has been a good battle, hasn't it, between Parkinson and the Hampshire batting this evening.
Yeah. Parkinson just gets ready to go in again to Fuller on strike. Fuller just steps back and missed. Just a bit of turn there from Parkinson.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say at this point in the game things are evenly balanced.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, you think if these two can take it near the end of the day or stay until the end of the day, I think it's Hampshire's day. But if Kent get a couple more wickets...
As Parkinson just into Fuller and just blocked there by Fuller. And Parkinson picking up 2 big wickets. And just what a catch that was from Denley though.
Oh, just astonishing, wasn't it?
So Parkinson in again to Fuller. Fuller steps back and drives it on the offside and it's going to go for a boundary. So for a lovely shot there from Fuller. Just placed it so well, yeah. Well-timed drive there from Fuller.
Jaden Denley's back on the field. Quite sure who that's for. Garrett's still on, but Garrett maybe just got off the field. No, he's still there.
Parkinson into Fuller once again. Ooh, and it's gone. Was that an edge? Looked like it may have got a faint edge.
Finch is celebrating with them, yeah. So you could see how disappointed Fuller was with that. Just see the dismissal here. Yeah, absolutely. It has turned as well from leg stump, and Fuller just leans down and shouts into the ground more or less, doesn't he? And
third of the day, third wicket of the day for Parkinson. He's making a late impact here on day 1 at Canterbury.
And he's getting some turn this and that. As I said, it'd be wonderful for Matt Parkinson. He's bowled almost thanklessly through a lot of sessions for Kent this summer. But this wicket, it's got a bit of traction for him. He's taken 3 in a row.
He's almost single-handedly swung things in Kent's favour with this late flurry of wickets. as Carl Abbott comes out to bat. And it's safe to say Hampshire are into the tail end now.
Yeah. So, gone for 7, James Fuller, and can be mightily destructive, can't he? But couldn't get the bat swinging. So yeah, Kent have Hampshire 210 for 7. They'll be pleased with their day's work. Important toss to win, but it's taking advantage of it as well, isn't it? Yeah. It's an important thing. So toss the ball to Parkinson, off to Jack Leaning. I think Leaning was off the field for a few minutes, so Jaden Denley is coming off deep in conversation with Hamid Kadri. And 210 for 7. Parkinson 3 for 30. Been a revelation, really.
Still 12 overs left in the day, assuming the light holds out. It looks like it will so far. Things could change, but Kent will be eyeing up maybe 1 or 2 more wickets before close of play if we get these 12 overs in.
I'm not sure how pleased they would be the openers would be to be batting, but they would be pleased if they could take the 3 wickets, if that makes sense. But yeah, Hampshire obviously trying to stop that happening.
Parkinson final delivery of the over into Abbott, and Abbott just steps back and drives it on the offside and should pick up a single. And that's the end of the over. Hampshire 211 for 7. Parkinson with a key wicket there, and 60 overs gone in a day.
Yeah, he's taken the last 3 to go. Vince via that catch from Joe Denley. They all count. Incredible catch. Liam Dawson caught at Shortish Gully by Charlie Stobo for 31. Vince going for 88, by the way. James Fuller going for 7, as you just heard. The other wicket to fall after tea. Ben Brown going caught by Joey Everson off the bowling of George Garrett. Actually, just about the only short ball we've seen, I think, or the shortest ball we've seen of the day, and got big on Brown, and he was trying to swing it away. Didn't get all of it out towards the leg side boundary. Everson caught that one. Early on, Middleton bowled by Garrett for 8, and Albert bowled by Everson for 11 with the first 2 to go. Nick Gubbins in an 83 partnership, the biggest of the day so far, with James Vince caught before tea, behind off the bowling of Garrett. So, now we're going to have Leaning from the other end. There we go. It's double spin for Kent now. So, I think their over rate's a bit below par, but not too far. I think Kent are seeing what Parkinson's doing at one end and thinking, might as well have a bit of this. Jack Leaning. Spin the ball the other way, of course. Carl Abbott faces, leaves it through to wicketkeeper Harry Finch. He was interested until got to just around his waistband, I think, Carl Abbott, and he thought better of playing that. And has left it alone. And this one again. Lean doesn't give it that much air as a spinner. More a one-day spinner, if you like. In profile, a little bit flatter. 211 for 7. And now, and the quicker delivery goes forward, pads up, does Abbott, and there's no run. 14 for Press, 1 for Abbott so far. And the weather is, well, the light is closing in a bit, but Kent won't mind having spinners on at the moment either, I wouldn't have thought. But if that influences the umpires at all, this one's turned into the onside. It is, though, getting gloomier.
Yeah.
No run, by the way, as George Garrett feels it's behind square. Calling for something there. Fielding helmet, maybe? Let's see. Leaning to Abbott. Turns it with the spin towards square leg. Single then. 212 for 7. 1 more to come of this over. Jack Lean, the vice captain, shining the ball on the outside of his whites. Tom Press settles. 14 from 32 balls so far. He takes his guard for Jack Leaning. Charlie Stobo is the single slip. Leaning bowls to Prest. Turns that again with the spin out towards square leg. Fielded by Jazz Singh. And end of the over. 2 off at 213 for 7. Yeah, there's a helmet coming on. And fielding pads as well. So it looks like we're going to have a close fielder for Matt Parkinson. It's BBC Radio Kent and BBC Solent. Joint commentary of this game between Kent and Hampshire. towards, well, within 11 overs of the end of the first day. Rain truncated, bad light as well. We lost the first session to rain. I'm Matt Cole, alongside me Santoki Nakalendran from the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, and Kevin James from BBC Solent. Oh, wait a minute. We are coming off. Well, there we are. I didn't see this coming because the pads and helmet came on, and the players are coming off at 2:13 for 7. It's light, isn't it? It was getting pretty gloomy here, and is the floodlights taking over the natural light, and here come the ground staff, and in fact some of the Hampshire coaches are wandering onto the outfield as well, and I'm wondering if we'll get very much more play today. The umpires are staying out there obviously to test the light, take a light reading. And Kent's fielders and bowlers applauded in. But for the moment, we will... All the umpires saying that I guess the ground staff are wandering out to see if they want the covers on at this point. But we are stopped for bad light. So we hope to be back with you before the day's play is done. But at 2:13 for 7, with Tom Preston on 15, Kyle Abbott on 2, and 3 for 31 for Parkinson. I think we will leave you, if you don't hear from us again today, we'll be back at 10:30, weather looking much better than it did this morning for tomorrow. For the moment, from me, Matt Cole, from Santoki and from Kevin, it's goodbye for now. Well, if you're still with us here on the live stream on BBC Radio Kent, BBC Silent via the pictures with the Kent Cricket Club, that is the end of day one. Hampshire 213 for 7. Bad light calling a premature end to proceedings with still 13 or so overs left. Tom Preston on 15, Abbott on 2, Matt Parkinson has 3 wickets, so too George Garrett for Kent. James Vince top scoring today with 88 runs. From me, Matt Cole, from Santoki, and from Kevin. We will rejoin you at 10:30 tomorrow morning for day 2 of Kent against Hampshire.